Chapter 167, Breeding Spiritual Grass, 1. This is the one, Wang Xian exclaimed with excitement as he stood by the villa's window and looked down at the sea. It was a villa which was located deep within the Supreme Sea's development zone, close to the sea. This villa was built on a towering rock that emerged from the sea, thus having the seawater right beneath it. It was different from the other villas that were located more than 100 meters away from the sea. The entire villa stood at 3 stories, and the exterior had a swimming pool that linked to the sea and a boat placed beside the villa. The exciting thing was the slide placed on the roof, allowing people to slide straight into the sea. This villa seemed much more magnificent than the previous one which he had viewed. How much does this villa cost? Wang Xian asked the saleswoman excitedly. Sir, this villa is currently selling at $83 million. If you are able to make the full payment, you may have the property only for $80 million. You may have the villa with all the facilities available inside, the saleswoman replied politely. $80 million. Wang Xian nodded and said, I'll take it. May I sign the contract and stay in today? Yes, of course. The saleswoman nodded with enthusiasm and shook, and moved herself right beside Wang Xian. She looked at Wang Xian with glittering eyes and brushed her breast against Wang Xian's arm. All right, please bring me the contract, and if possible, I shall stay here today. Wang Xian spoke as he looked coldly at her. Oh yes, sir. The saleswoman nodded and walked out with some disappointment. Wang Xian made his way up to the top level of the villa and watched Xiao Yu view the surroundings with excitement. Choose a room for yourself. Wang Xian said to Xiao Yu. All right, brother. I'll choose the room on the 2nd level, she replied excitedly. Okay, I shall have the room on the 3rd level then. That reminds me, brother, my master will be coming over and staying with us later, Xiao Yu told Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded and said, sure, we can give Elder Fang the room right beside yours. When is she coming over? Wang Xian was not surprised that Xiao Yu's master was staying with them. Ever since Xiao Yu had become the saintess of the Thistles and Thorns sect after joining the sect leader Tang had always wanted to arrange someone skillful enough to protect her. However, Xiao Yu turned down the offer. Fortunately, Elder Fang would be following her from now on. Apart from giving martial arts guidance, she would also ensure Xiao Yu's safety. I just sent her the address, she will be here in the afternoon, said Xiao Yu. Okay, Wang Xian acknowledged. At this moment, the saleswoman came back with a middle-aged man in a suit. Sir, we have brought all our information, and we may proceed with the transaction now. Sure. All it took was just the signing of the purchasing contract and the payment. Sir, if you have any needs, you may contact us via our hotline, and we will answer your needs as soon as we can, the middle-aged man said to Wang Xian with much veneration. Oh yes, I really do have a need. Does your company provide purchasing services for yachts? Wang Xian had always dreamed of possessing a yacht. A yacht would complete that sea view villa. It would also be a pleasure to take Xiao Yu or Guan Shuqing out to the sea for a ride. Having a zesty life on the sea could not be more wonderful than swimming under the sea in his dragon form. Yachts. The middle-aged man was stunned for a while and replied, well, we have a collaboration with a yacht agent who represents a well-known yacht brand in the world. If you wish to purchase, we have a booklet with the various types of yachts. He took out a booklet and handed it to Wang Xian. The yachts were known as the top luxury brand in Italy. Wang Xian viewed the price of the yachts, which ranged from $3 million to $80 million, came in different styles and were mesmerizing. This yacht costs just as much as this villa. Xiao Yu was shocked as she came and looked at the different yachts in the booklet. Wang Xian nodded, he pointed at a particular yacht and said, how's this one? It's beautiful, but it costs $40 million, it's too expensive, Xiao Yu replied with her lips pouting as she looked at the yacht that Wang Xian had pointed out to her. The yacht stood at 26 meters long and was able to make long-distance travels. The interior concept was no different from a house. It was filled with all kinds of amenities such as a dining area, a bedroom, and a living room. The double-decker yacht was grand and luxurious. Let's decide on this, then. The cheaper ones are too small, Wang Xian said decisively. Both the middle-aged man and the saleswoman were astonished. In just within a day, $120 million had been spent. "Sir, we will need you to pay the deposit first, and we will deliver the yacht within a week," said the middle-aged man, in an ordering manner. "Sure." Wang Xian nodded and made the payment for the deposit immediately. "Thank you, and contact us if you have any needs." As both the middle-aged man and the saleswoman left, Wang Xian lay on the sofa with a huge smile on his face. Just the renovation of the entire villa alone cost tens of millions of dollars, with all appliances purchased from top brands in the world. Xiao Yu also toured herself in their new home happily. "Brother, my master has arrived, I'm going out to receive her." Xiao Yu ran out of the house. By then, half an hour had already passed as Wang Xian was chatting with Guan Shuqing on his mobile phone. "Brother, come and help me out." Wang Xian stood and went outside as he heard Xiao Yu's voice after a short while. As he arrived at the courtyard, he saw a Wrangler SUV had been parked. Xiao Yu, with her master and the chauffeur, had their hands full. What seemed peculiar to Wang Xian were some grass and stones that were removed from the car. "What are these?" asked Wang Xian as he looked dumbfounded. "These are some spiritual stones and spiritual grass that possess spiritual energy," replied Elder Fang, who looked at Wang Xian in bewilderment. "Spiritual stones and spiritual grass that possess spiritual energy?" Wang Xian was stunned for a while and immediately went up to pick up one of those stones. Dilapidated spiritual stones. Instantly, some words flashed across Wang Xian's head. Spiritual stones. Wang Xian's eyes started to fill with fire, but he shook his head. Wang Xian needed a complete spiritual stone. Dilapidated spiritual stones were totally useless to him. He looked at the spiritual grass, but there was no sign given from his system, as the grass may have been too low in terms of level. "These items are used as a form of support for Xiao Yu's training," said Elder Fang as she took out 2 tufts of spiritual grass from her car carefully. The tufts of spiritual grass were placed in a wooden bucket of half a meter wide, which was filled with red mud and some spiritual stones. One of the tufts appeared to be redder in color, and it glowed with red halation. The other tuft had some green fruits which were about the size of a pinky fingernail, grown on it, and there were 5 to 6 of them. Chapter 168, Breeding Spiritual Grass, 2. 100-Year Blood-Nurturing Grass, Level 1. Extractable Dragon Energy, 665. 100-Year Spiritual Bead, Level 1. Extractable Dragon Energy, 343. What? When Wang Xian saw the information about these 2 tufts of grass, he was shocked. He was actually able to see the level of these medicinal grasses. Moreover, dragon energy could be extracted from them. Nope, they should be referred to as spiritual medicine. 100-year blood-nurturing grass. Could it be that this medicinal grass has been living for 100 years and has evolved into a spiritual grass? Wang Xian thought to himself. Our thistles and thorns sect had a hard time getting these 2 tufts of grass. This is the blood-nurturing grass. Consuming it would strengthen one's breathing and blood flow and strengthen one's body. This is the spiritual beads grass. Consuming the spiritual beads on it could increase one's spiritual strength. However, the spiritual beads on it haven't matured and would require an additional month. Spiritual grasses like these are few even in the entire thistles and thorns sect. Elder Fang explained as she held onto the 2 tufts of spiritual grass. Master, are those stones with spiritual strength and spiritual grasses expensive? Xiao Yu looked at the white and translucent stones around her and asked inquisitively. They are naturally precious. Now that we are at the age of Dharma decline where spiritual energy is scarce, cultivation is extremely difficult. Not everyone has the inborn constitution like Xiao Yu. A small stone like this will be enough for an ordinary ancient martial artist to absorb. However, each one of these is worth several hundreds of thousands. The value of these 2 tufts of grass is even higher. You can't get it without 4 to 5 million. Moreover, many would see these as priceless. Even if you have the money, you might not be able to get them, Elder Fang explained to Xiao Yu patiently. Wouldn't that mean that the stones with spiritual energy and these spiritual grasses are worth 40 to 50 million? Xiao Yu remarked in astonishment. There were over 100 stones with spiritual energy that her master had brought over this time. Together with these precious spiritual grasses, the value was extraordinary. These resources are for your training use for the next half a year. There will be an auction in the southern province tomorrow. At that time, there would be spiritual grasses up for auction. I'll bring you along to get some items, Elder Fang continued. Xiao Yu's eyes lit up as she nodded her head slightly. The Thistles and Thorns sect had highly valued Xiao Yu's inborn constitution. They weren't stingy at all when it came to various cultivation resources. Let me place the remaining spiritual grass in a place with ample sunlight. Xiao Yu, bring these spiritual stones into your room. I'll teach you how to absorb the energy in a while, Elder Fang said to Xiao Yu. All right, Master, answered Xiao Yu. Miracle Dr. Wang, I'll be troubling you for the near future, Elder Fang said to Wang Xian. It's all right. You are Xiao Yu's master. I should be thanking you for guiding her. Wang Xian shook his head. Although Elder Fang wore loose clothing, her perfect body was just like a mature peach. Looking at her was pleasing to the eyes. Elder Fang nodded her head and smiled. After which, she took the tufts of medicinal grasses to the front yard. With the assistance of a middle-aged man, she planted them. After watering them and placing some broken spiritual stones around them, Elder Fang finally nodded her head in satisfaction before heading back to the villa. As for the driver, after helping Elder Fang, he left immediately. After seeing them leaving, Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before appearing in front of the medicinal grass Elder Fang had planted. Wang Xian knew relatively little about medicinal grasses. Medicinal grasses and medical techniques were often highly related. However, the shame was that Wang Xian was just a pseudo-miracle doctor. It seems like only medicinal grasses that are over 100 years could be considered as level 1 spiritual medicine. Only then can I see their information and extract dragon energy. Wang Xian confirmed the thought in his mind. From another perspective, the devil flowers that he met in the seas previously could also be considered as a form of spiritual medicine. Level 1 spiritual medicine is worth 4 to 5 million. This is similar to the value of a 100-year-old ginseng. Can I breed my own spiritual grass? Wang Xian pondered. When he knew how precious spiritual medicine was, as well as its effects, he had a thought in mind. As a divine dragon, coupled with the fact that he could turn into an azure dragon of wood attributes, he could control all types of plants. The most common ability and what he was most apt at in this moment was controlling plants. Using wood attribute energy, he could make the plants grow at a rapid pace and control them for attacking. Does this mean that I can breed spiritual medicine rapidly? For example, making a 100-year spiritual grass grow into a 500-year spiritual grass in a short amount of time? If Wang Xian could do it, he would be a bug-like existence in the future. All the experts in the ancient martial arts circle would be requesting spiritual medicine from him. At that time, he wouldn't have to worry about the resources required for the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian had spent a total of $120 million to buy the villa and the yacht today. This left him with only 30 million. How poor was he? Wang Xian walked in front of the medicinal grass that Elder Fang had planted. There was a total of 10 tufts of them. These medicinal grass were all around 30 to 40 years old and weren't cheap at all. This is the spiritual beads medicinal grass. However, it has not borne the spiritual beads yet. Wang Xian looked at the medicinal grass. It was different from those that Elder Fang had placed in his own room. This was just a seedling in comparison. It still had some effects if consumed now. However, the effects were a far cry from those 100-year-old spiritual beads grasses. Those that were below 100 years were classified as medicinal grass. As for those above 100 years, they were classified as spiritual medicine. Wang Xian bowed down and dug out the spiritual beads grass. SSS. Moving his finger slightly, a dense aura of the azure dragon surrounded the grass and prevented it from dying. Let's experiment on it. Wang Xian returned to the villa. When he walked past the second floor, he noticed that Elder Fang was guiding Xiao Yu with her cultivation. He headed for the third floor directly and closed the door. I hope it will work. The spiritual beads grass was only about 20 centimeters tall and had the thickness of a thumb. It was of a bright green color, just like bamboo which had grown out of the earth. It was much smaller than the one in Elder Fang's hands a while ago, which was 1/2 meter tall. Wang Xian held it and emitted an intense aura of the azure dragon. Gradually, he injected them into the spiritual bead's grass. The spiritual bead's grass glowed in a faint green color. Wang Xian noticed that spiritual beads were growing at a very slow pace. It really works. Wang Xian's eyes lit up as he continued injecting the aura of the azure dragon into it. This is it. However, after 10 minutes, Wang Xian could feel that all the energy in his body had been depleted. The spiritual bead's grass had only grown by 10 centimeters. Indeed, it isn't that easy to create a spiritual medicine. Wang Xian's complexion was pale and he felt fatigued. He hesitated for a moment before going to the top floor of the villa. After removing his clothes, he slid into the seas from that slide. Dragon transformation. Wang Xian dived into the seas. He noticed that the waters directly below were only about 1.5 meters deep. Swaying his body, he swam towards the seas rapidly. Splash! The giant body of the divine dragon appeared. Wang Xian held that spiritual bead's grass between his lips and swam to the region where the waters were 7 to 8 meters deep. After which, he created a space that was free of water. Wang Xian in human form was a lot weaker than when he was in the dragon form. The energy in his body in human form was also a lot lower. With a change in thought, lights of 5 colors were emitted from his body and he turned into an azure dragon with wood attribute energy. I don't believe I can't create a spiritual medicine. Wang Xian stared at that spiritual bead's grass as a dense aura of the azure dragon was injected into it gradually. Chapter 169, Breeding Spiritual Grass, 3. Immense energy of azure dragon filled itself into the spiritual bead herb, which spurred its growth. The azure dragon energy had allowed the herb to grow from 20 centimeters to 30 centimeters. Gradually, the spiritual beads grew to 1/2 meter under the irrigation of the energy. Why hasn't it reached the level of a spiritual medicine? Wang Xian stared at the spiritual beads in bewilderment and used his dragon energy to check its status. Oh my! This spiritual bead might be at a bottleneck stage. Wang Xian frowned. Every living thing had its shackles to unlock, spiritual grass included. It usually required a long period of time before the spiritual grass reached the stage of spiritual medicine. As time passed, the energy of the herb would be accumulated, and it would be able to break free from its shackles. What Wang Xian was trying to do was to speed up the growth by force, but it was unable to break the shackles. Looks like it's not going to be as easy as I'd expected. Wang Xian frowned again as he realized that it was not easy to cultivate spiritual medicine. It would be too absurd to think that any random person with a wood element energy could use their power to speed up the growth for spiritual medicine. In fact, unknown to Wang Xian, his azure dragon energy contained essence of the wood element. A pinch of energy was equivalent to 100 points of wood elements. As he was trying to recover from the energy lost, he gave it a thought and shook. Since spiritual medicines are able to boost my dragon energy, does it mean that the shackles can only be broken by injecting dragon energy? Immediately, Wang Xian injected some dragon energy right into the spiritual bead herb. Instantly, Wang Xian saw spiritual beads born from the spiritual bead herb. Spiritual bead, level 1. Extractable dragon energy, 432. Yes. I did it. I did it. A tuft of herb had finally been cultivated into spiritual grass after a massive amount of azure dragon energy and 14 points of dragon energy had been used up. Wang Xian was definitely on cloud 9. In conclusion, compared to the energy depleted in cultivating the medicine and the amount of energy he could gain from it, he still had close to 400 points of dragon energy surplus. However, the time taken to cultivate should be taken into consideration as well. It was not just the energy that was the crucial element. Assuming Wang Xian took this amount of time, he would probably gain more than 400 dragon energy if he hunted in the sea. I shall continue and see if this can be cultivated to a higher level. Wang Xian's heart was filled with willpower as he pumped more azure dragon energy into spiritual medicine. The azure dragon energy allowed the spiritual bead medicine to speed up the growth upon breaking its shackles. Gradually, as the spiritual bead medicine grew, The 6 spiritual beads on the stalk began to turn red. After an hour, Wang Xian exhaled a long breath, looking exhausted. In just an hour, he had used up all his azure dragon energy, which only allowed the spiritual medicine to grow to about 80 centimeters, and was still far from the full evolution. He decided to recover his energy before he carried on. As the full recovery took place after an hour, he continued to pump the energy into the spiritual bead again. Slowly, it grew to 90 centimeters, and to 1 meter. Wang Xian sensed yet another shackle upon reaching 1 meter. Guess I have to use my dragon energy again. The difference between the azure dragon energy and the dragon energy was the azure dragon energy contained essence of the wood element and could be replenished through recuperation upon full consumption, while the dragon energy would be gone permanently under the same circumstance. Currently, Wang Xian's dragon energy was standing at 500,000, so it was not a big deal using just a bit to cultivate a tuft of spiritual medicine. This time, Wang Xian used up 200 dragon energy. Spiritual bead, level 2. Extractable dragon energy, 2312. It's level 2. It has reached level 2, and the 6 spiritual beads have turned a fiery red color. These spiritual beads might be in their 500th year. He thought and continued to cultivate. Since it was still early, he wanted to see how far he was able to cultivate. 1 hour passed. 2 hours passed. 8 hours passed. 10 hours passed. I'm exhausted. Wang Xian lay flat on the seabed like a dead dragon after 12 long hours. This was just like fighting in a war. No one would be able to stand after fighting such long hours, especially when all energy had been used up. However, a smile was drawn across Wang Xian's face as he persevered to push the spiritual medicine to 3 meters with the 6 spiritual beads bore with yellowish fruits. Spiritual bead, level 4. Extractable dragon energy, 13,654. A level 4 spiritual medicine had been created after more than 10 hours, utilizing more than 3,000 dragon energy. He realized that the cultivation would get tougher and tougher. It would require at least 3 days to reach level 5. It would take half a month to reach level 6. The higher the level, the tougher it gets. It might even need 3 to 4 months or more in order to reach level 7 or 8. He had to go on without any recuperation during this period. I shall let Xiao Yu try on one to test its effectiveness, said Wang Xian happily as looked at the fruits and continued to recuperate. Compared to the level 1 spiritual beads, the current fruits were at the size of a fist and were beaming with a faint yellow light. With a twist of his body, Wang Xian had transformed back to his human form. He then leaped to the villa's roof. In his hand he held the spiritual bead medicine which stood at the height of 3 meters and the circumference of an arm. Let's place it here then. It should not perish with the vitality of level 4 spiritual medicine. Wang Xian set the 6 fruits down as he left the level 4 spiritual medicine on the roof. If anyone were to know that the spiritual medicine had been left on the roof, it would invite countless powerhouses to the villa to compete for it after a day. I guess it's past 8 o'clock. Wang Xian thought as he looked at the sky, which had already brightened up after he was gone with the cultivation for more than 10 hours since the day before. He got himself dressed and made his way down. He peeped into the rooms at the 2nd level. It seemed like both Xiao Yu and her master had already gone down. When he came to the ground floor, he heard soft exclamations from outside. He came to the front door and saw that Xiao Yu was training with a sword in her hand. Sweat was rolling down her cheeks. On the other side, Elder Fang was dressed entirely different from her 2 previous outfits. She was dressed in a complete tight-fitting gear which displayed her perfect body line. Such sultriness to that derriere which was firm, round and big. Such enticement with her hair tied up. Elder Fang was standing on the other side while giving guidance to Xiao Yu's sword skills. All right, we shall call it a day. We need to rush to Flow City, said Elder Fang as she looked at the time. Who? Xiao Yu took a deep breath and replied, Yes, master. Brother. Where did you come from? And just where were you yesterday? Asked Xiao Yu with some astonishment as she saw Wang Xian standing at the front door. She had searched for her brother for a long time when he had suddenly disappeared. Oh, I went out and got something for you, said Wang Xian with a smile. How mysterious. I can't believe that you are starting to hide things from me already, said Xiao Yu, with her lips touted. Feeling unhappy, she said, what on earth did you get for me that you had to leave without a sound? I almost called the cops after a long and wasted effort searching for you. Ahem. Wang Xian smiled awkwardly as he was faced with his sister's complaint and said, I went to get something for your training. Here, take this. As he spoke, he presented the fruit's bore from a level 4 spiritual medicine. Chapter 170, Auction, 1. A yellow fruit appeared in Wang Xian's hand. When Xiao Yu wiped off the perspiration on her face and saw the fruit, she was completely speechless. What? You went to get fruit for me? Huh. However, Elder Fang, who was beside Xiao Yu, frowned upon seeing the fruit in Wang Xian's hand. This isn't any ordinary fruit. This is something your brother had to work an entire night to get for you. Wang Xian was speechless as he walked towards Xiao Yu with the spiritual fruit. This is highly nourishing. TSK. You must be lying to me. All you like to do now is lie to me. Xiao Yu pouted and was clearly not convinced. This is. Suddenly, excitement flashed past Elder Fang's eyes. She had a shocked expression and her exclaim was filled with disbelief. Oh! It seems like Elder Fang has recognized this fruit. Wang Xian smiled at Elder Fang. Puff puff. Elder Fang's breathing was rapid. Her gaze was tightly fixed on the yellow fruit in Wang Xian's hand as she mumbled, spiritual bead takes 100 years to turn green, 500 years to turn red, 1,000 years to turn orange and 1,500 years to turn yellow. This is the fruit of a level 4 spiritual beads grass. Elder Fang explained and her body was shivering slightly. She looked on in disbelief. She did not have a great understanding of spiritual medicine in general but was very clear about spiritual beads grass. The Thistles and Thorns sect had paid a huge price to get a level 1 spiritual beads grass. At that time, she had gone to find out more information about spiritual beads grass. The fruits from the spiritual beads grass were known as spiritual beads. Based on the difference in level, the colors would be different too. Fruits from 100-year grass, 500-year grass, 1,000-year grass and 1,500-year grass were green, red, orange and yellow respectively. Based on the color of this fruit, it was clear that it was the spiritual bead of a level 4 spiritual beads grass. She had not even seen a level 3 spiritual medicine, let alone a level 4. Rumor has it that for a peak level 9 martial artist, he has a 10% chance of advancing to half-step to inborn if he consumes a level 4 spiritual bead. If he can gather the entire spiritual medicine, he would have a 60% chance of advancing. 10% might seem low but it was in fact very high for a level 9 martial artist, let alone 60%. Elder Fang's face was turning a little red from excitement. This made her even more alluring. The value of this level 4 spiritual bead is similar to an entire city. Miracle Dr. Wang, how did you get it? I did expend a lot of effort to get it, Wang Xian smiled and replied. Seeing the shocked expression on Elder Fang, he felt a little proud of himself. It was just something he created by skipping a night of sleep. Hee. Expend a lot of effort. Elder Fang's expression was interesting to watch. She really didn't know what else to say. Getting a level 4 spiritual medicine just because you have expended a lot of effort. Master, is this fruit really that awesome? Xiao Yu opened her mouth slightly and asked in astonishment. This is a spiritual bead and isn't an ordinary fruit. Elder Fang gritted her teeth. She felt that this pair of siblings was really strange. One managed to get a level 4 spiritual bead after expending a lot of effort while the other asked if this fruit is really that awesome. If it wasn't because of her great mental qualities, she would probably be spewing blood. Level 4 spiritual bead couldn't be bought with anything less than $700 to $800 million. Moreover, even if you have the money, you need to wait for the opportunity too. The frequency of the sale of level 4 spiritual medicine might not even be once in an entire year throughout the ancient martial arts circle, Elder Fang explained. This. So expensive? Xiao Yu's eyes popped open and were filled with disbelief. Yeah. Elder Fang nodded her head solemnly. More often than not, level 4 spiritual medicine couldn't be measured using money. Under most circumstances, They have to be exchanged with other object. Oh my gosh. It's worth that much. Wang Xian was shocked too when he heard Elder Fang's explanation. He had initially thought that the value of this fruit to be a few dozens of millions at the maximum. It was beyond his imagination that this would worth $700 to $800 million. It seemed like he had underestimated the value of a level 4 spiritual medicine. What do you think? Xiao Yu, do you want to try a fruit that cost $700 to $800 million? Seeing Xiao Yu's shocked expression, Wang Xian joked. Xiao Yu swallowed her saliva and stared at the spiritual bead in her brother's hand, which she had previously dismissed as just a normal fruit. Miracle Dr. Wang, Xiao Yu's current cultivation level is a little too low. She wouldn't be able to withstand the enormous spiritual energy in it. It's better to wait for her to consume it after reaching level 9. Elder Fang's mouth twitched a little as she spoke. Can we just cut it into smaller pieces before eating? Wang Xian was taken aback and asked inquisitively. That's possible, but a large portion of the energy of the spiritual bead would be lost, Elder Fang said. It's fine. Just cut it smaller and eat it. If Xiao Yu can't finish it, Elder Fang, you can have some. Although it's a little hard to get this, it is not impossible to get, Wang Xian said nonchalantly and emitted the aura of a ruler. Seeing how he could say those words calmly, Elder Fang was stunned and didn't know how to respond at the moment. Her thistles and thorns sect had gone through mountains and seas just to get a level 1 spiritual medicine to aid Xiao Yu in her cultivation training. In the end, Xiao Yu's brother easily took out level 4 spiritual medicine for Xiao Yu to waste. This. Can it be that it's our thistles and thorns sect that is too trash-like? No, it's this juvenile who is too insane. Elder Fang looked at this mysterious and good-looking juvenile and started to go into a daze. That's a little beyond her imagination now. Miracle Dr. Wang from the old street of Rivertown is definitely not that simple, she thought to herself and had a desire to demystify the aura around Wang Xian. Brother, you are really nice to me. I'm sorry for grumbling about you previously. Xiao Yu walked over, feeling touched. Highs. All you have to know is that I've done all these things for you. Wang Xian smiled. However, if you are leaving next time, you still have to inform me. Otherwise, I'll be calling the police, Xiao Yu continued. Upon hearing her, Wang Xian's face stiffened as he patted her head. At this moment, Elder Fang commented, let's not let Xiao Yu consumes the level 4 spiritual medicine. We can head to the auction today and see if we can get some level 1 or 2 spiritual medicine for Xiao Yu. Auction? Wang Xian was taken aback slightly and looked at Elder Fang in doubt. Yeah. An auction organized by the 9 Stars Auction House. 9 Stars Auction House's auction is a blend of ancient martial arts and modern style. As long as you have the money, you can enter. They will be hosting an auction in the southern province this time. All the wealthy people and ancient martial arts sects in the surrounding 2 provinces will likely be sending their representatives over. The scale of this auction is pretty huge and would likely have lots of precious items. Elder Fang looked at Wang Xian as she explained. Oh, if I have something to put up for auction, can I leave it there for sale? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow. He only had approximately $30 million and less than 1% of the resources needed for the Dragon Palace had been gathered. It was time to get some money. It's a little too late to sell it by consignment now. However, there's a session after the auction that allows one to exchange items for items. Naturally, you could get money for your items. You can even save on the auction fees in this way. Consequentially, you might not be able to get a good price since you lack the publicity, Elder Fang explained to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded his head and made up his mind. Brother, what are you selling? Xiao Yu asked Wang Xian inquisitively. A few blood corals. Wang Xian thought about it. That heart-shaped blood coral with the other corals should be able to fetch $100 to $200 million. However, it was still too little. And a level 4 spiritual bead. As he spoke, he took out another yellow-colored level 4 spiritual bead. Elder Fang and Xiao Yu were instantly stunned. Chapter 171, Auction, 2. When Elder Fang saw another level 4 spiritual bead, she suddenly felt like she was a beggar who had met a filthy rich person. Her lips were parted slightly as she stared at the spiritual bead that every martial artist wanted to lay their hands on. Such a spiritual bead was held casually by Wang Xian, who wanted to sell it for money. He dismissed this as something simple. Xiao Yu was also stunned when her brother held out the spiritual bead. She hugged her brother's arm immediately and exclaimed, "My tycoon brother, enough, let's go." Wang Xian smiled at Xiao Yu, "Get yourself washed up. You stink." "Okay." Xiao Yu nodded to Wang Xian and ran back to the villa joyously. Elder Fang stared hard at Wang Xian before she walked back to the villa. Wang Xian went back and checked out the kitchen. He realized Xiao Yu and Elder Fang had bought a lot of food when he opened the refrigerator. He made a simple breakfast and waited for Xiao Yu while eating it. "Wow, brother. You made breakfast. But we can only have it on our way. The auction is about to begin." Xiao Yu was thrilled as she took some food from the table and handed her master some. "Are we in such a hurry? Then let's go now." Wang Xian stood up and nodded. "The auction starts at 10:30 am and ends at 3 p.m. It will be almost 10:30 when we arrived at Flow City," said Elder Fang to Wang Xian. "Okay, let's set off now." Wang Xian nodded. He took out the blood corals and headed outside. Flow City was the capital of the southern province. The prosperity of the city was similar to that of Rivertown. It was also a second-tier city. However, Flow City was nearer to the first-tier city, Summer City. As such, the riches and the ancient martial artists from the two provinces would be going to the auction held at Flow City. Here's a list of the auction items. Miracle Dr. Wang, you can take a look to see if anything catches your eye. Elder Fang handed an exquisite auction booklet to Wang Xian. "Thank you." Wang Xian nodded and took over the booklet with curiosity. The first page was an introduction to 9 Stars Auction House. 9 Stars Auction House was considered the first-class force, mainly for auctioning some items that were from the ancient martial art world and the present society. Apart from the Starry Auction House managed by the Starry Sacred Sect, 9 Stars Auction House was the top-notch auction house in the domestic country. Each auction they held could attract many wealthy people and experts. This auction was the same as well. Wang Xian flipped to the second page, which showed the first item for auction. The authentic calligraphy of Li Bai. Li Bai, known as the Sword Celestial, was also a legendary ancient martial artist and a powerful inborn expert. The name, Sword Celestial, was crowned for his mighty swordsmanship. At the same time, he had integrated his swordsmanship into his calligraphy. According to rumors, if anyone could decipher his swordsmanship from his calligraphy, he would definitely be able to obtain the inheritance of the Sword Celestial. The first item, Li Bai's authentic calligraphy, held high value in collection and cultivation. The bid started from $20 million. The second item was an antique which was not as expensive as the first one, with a starting bid of several million. Subsequently, there were other antiques, accessories, and all kinds of jewelry. Apart from those, there were things like renowned swords and herbs ranging from millions to billions. Many things inside the booklet stunned Wang Xian a little. Besides that, there were a few secretive items which were unrevealed. However, the booklet claimed that these items would spur fierce competition among the experts. Wang Xian flipped through the booklet and had some understanding of the auction. The car drove them fast to the border between Flow City and Summer City at 10:10 a.m. This area was a suburb with a pleasant environment and a beautiful lake next to it. It was surrounded by villas too. The car finally came to a halt in front of the auction house where various branded vehicles were parked around it. 9 Stars Auction House. Wang Xian stepped out of the car and walked forward. He saw a huge stone monument standing beside the auction house as it gave off a majestic vibe. "Let's go. It's almost time," said Elder Fang to Wang Xian and Xiao Yu. The two of them nodded and walked toward the entrance. "Please show your pass." 2 young men stood at each side of the entrance spoke. Elder Fang took out a pass and handed it to one of them. "You may enter," he said respectfully after examining it. "Young Master Liu, you may enter." At this time, the 2 young men spoke to the person behind them with respect. Qing Yu, 9 Stars Auction House shares a close relationship with the Liu family. I'll get them to keep a lookout for nice jewelry from now on. A young guy's voice was heard from the back. Thanks, young Master Liu. A girl thanked him in a monotone voice. You're welcome. I ought to do this, said the young guy. Wang Xian, who was about to enter, paused when he heard the conversation between the young guy and the girl. His expression changed. Hey, why did you stop suddenly? Move. The young guy's impatient voice was heard from behind. Wang Xian hesitated before he spun around. Xiao Yu and Elder Fang turned back with questions too. Xiao Yu looked at the pretty girl in red and parted her lips. She quickly turned to her brother. At this time, Wang Xian knit his eyebrow slightly when he saw that girl. She was still the same one who liked to dress in red. Looking ravishing as before. The only difference was she seemed to be more aloof and tired. The girl was Lan Qingyu. When Lan Qingyu saw Wang Xian, she was shocked, surprised, and more, she felt a great sense of loss. How? Wang Xian opened his mouth. How have you been lately? He was mostly responsible for Lan Qingyue's withdrawal from school. Wang Xian had always felt guilty to her. I'm good. How about you? Radiance flickered in Lan Qingyue's eyes, but her face remained expressionless. I'm good too. Wang Xian smiled. Young Master Liu, who was beside Lan Qingyu, was shocked as he looked at Wang Xian and Lan Qingyu again. His expression slowly turned awful. Everyone could tell that Lan Qingyu had some relationship with this lad. Qingyu, who is he? Young Master Liu asked with a darkened expression. Just a classmate. Let's go, Lan Qingyu replied in a down-spirited tone and walked forward slowly. Young Master Liu looked at the back view of Lan Qingyu with a mixed expression. He then glared at Wang Xian with a pair of ruthless eyes. He walked over to Wang Xian and whispered a warning, Brat, I don't care who you are. Just stay away from Qingyu. Otherwise, I'll make sure you live in a living hell. Wang Xian was already in a bad mood when Lan Qingyu left immediately. Hence, he was impatient when he heard the young guy threatening him. Scram. Chapter 172, Auction, 3. Scram. When young Master Liu heard Wang Xian, his face stiffened instantly. He stared coldly at Wang Xian and revealed a hideous look. Great. Great. You are the first person who dares to speak to me in such a manner. Wang Xian looked him in the eyes before walking in impatiently. Young Master Liu stared coldly at Wang Xian as murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Miracle Dr. Wang, that is Little Sword Celestial, Liu Feiyun, from the tyrannical sword family, a first-class family. He already possessed the strength of a level 7 martial artist at the age of 27 and specialized in swordsmanship. He once defeated 3 martial artists of the same level with his swordsmanship and has since been known as the Little Sword Celestial. His talents are tremendous. Seeing that Wang Xian had made Liu Feiyun his enemy, Elder Fang frowned and reminded him. Wang Xian nodded his head. However, he was focused on the figure in red dress ahead of him and wasn't paying attention to Elder Fang's reminder. Seeing how he reacted, Elder Fang shook her head slightly. The decorations within the 9 Stars auction house were extremely grandiose. When one entered, he would see a huge hall. Tables and chairs were already set up within. At the very front, there was an elevated platform of approximately a meter tall. There was a huge screen on the elevated platform that would be used for the auction. The auction house could be divided into 2 floors. The lower floor was for the public and there was an additional floor above it. For the second floor, they were mainly suites. There were quite a number of suites which totaled 20 to 30. These suites weren't VIP suites or for those with strength. Instead, it was just a very ordinary suite. One could not see the clients that had walked into a suite from the outside. These were private spaces that 9 Stars auction house had prepared for their clients. Some clients might not want to let others know that they had obtained some precious items from the auction. Therefore, they would prefer to enter into a suite. As one of the top auctions houses in the country, 9 Stars auction house would also ensure 100% confidentiality with regards to the buyers and sellers' information. Let's get into a suite. Elder Fang took a glance at Liu Feiyun, hesitated for a moment, and led Xiao Yu and Wang Xian to a suite on the second floor. One could still clearly see what was happening on the ground floor from within the suite. More and more people entered the 9 Stars auction house. This auction was clearly highly successful, with approximately 200 people attending. These people were largely from the southern province and the 2 other provinces neighboring it. There were entrepreneurs, directors of large organizations and strong experts from ancient martial arts families and sects. The ratio of wealthy men to martial artists was roughly 1-to-1. From the second floor, Wang Xian could see Liu Feiyun and Lan Qingyu sitting around a table near the elevated platform. Liu Feiyun was explaining to Lan Qingyu enthusiastically. Wang Xian looked away and started observing the people of the auction. Liu family of the tyrannical sword from Hailing province, ancient fist sect, Lingyu sect from the Dongqing province and demon subduing sect. I had not expected the first-class forces from the 2 neighboring provinces to all be here. Elder Fang looked down and spoke solemnly. The Liu family members who practiced tyrannical sword, ancient fist sect, Lingyu sect from the Dongqing province and demon subduing sect were all first-class forces. Speaking of which, the southern province was relatively weaker and didn't have any first-class forces. Welcome, everyone, to our 9 Stars auction house. At 10 a.m. sharp, an old man walked up to the stage and spoke to the guests. The old man was loud and didn't require another sound amplification system. He was able to project his voice clearly to everyone's ears. This is sound transmission art. This old man is at least a level 8 martial artist. Elder Fang explained to Xiao Yu. Martial artist level 8. Incredible. Xiao Yu revealed a shocked expression. 9 Stars auction house can be considered to be in the top tier even amongst the first-class forces. They have 5 to 6 inborn experts and their disciples are extremely strong. An ordinary first-class force couldn't be compared with it. Elder Fang continued her explanation. Xiao Yu nodded her head and looked down curiously. We have a total of 40 items on auction today. Without further ado, we will be starting the auction for the first item, a real calligraphy piece of Li Bai. Li Bai was known by many as the Sword Celestial and had integrated his swordsmanship into his calligraphy. If anyone could decipher his swordsmanship from his calligraphy, he would definitely be able to obtain the inheritance of the Sword Celestial and become invincible, the old man remarked. 2 beautiful and employees in skimpy outfits carried a calligraphy piece onto the auction stage. The handwriting was wild but had sharp vibes to it. Any ancient martial artists would be able to tell that this piece of calligraphy wasn't ordinary. However, it was extremely hard to decipher anything from it. The starting price will be $20 million. The auction begins. Ding, $25 million. Just as the old man completed his sentence, the screen on the stage showed that there was someone who had upped the bid. For this auction, one wouldn't have to raise a card. Everyone had a button in front of them. One would just need to enter the bidding price and press the button to submit one's bid. $25 million from that Mr. at table 8. Is there anyone who would like to make a bid? The old man revealed a price after seeing the bid price. The crowd immediately turned their attention to table 8. This calligraphy piece, I'll definitely be getting it. Around table 8, Liu Feiyun lifted his head proudly and made his intention clear to all. He's the little sword celestial of the tyrannical sword. It's the Liu family. Let's just forget about it. We naturally wouldn't compete with the little sword celestial for the swordsmanship. Since young Master Liu is so determined, we naturally wouldn't compete with you for something you are fond of. The crowd looked at Liu Feiyun. Some of them greeted him while some exchanged customary words. Within the auction house, the Liu family would rank in the top 4 in terms of strength. Unless it was necessary, no one would like to compete with the Liu family. Haha, thank you, everyone. Liu Feiyun revealed an excited look. He laughed loudly and greeted the crowd before turning his attention to Lan Qingyu who was beside him. Qingyu, if there are any jewelry-related items in a while, I can win the bid for you. With the name of our Liu family, others would still show us respect. Liu Feiyun looked at Lan Qingyu proudly. Thank you, Mr. Liu. However, the Ju jewelry has Lingyu sect as their support. Would I be troubling young Master Liu? Lan Qingyu shook his head gradually and looked to a table just a short distance away. Lingyu sect. Liu Feiyun squinted his eyes and replied confidently, Qingyu, our Liu family isn't afraid of the Lingyu sect. Let me help you. If our enemy is only Lingyu sect, there's nothing to be afraid of. At this moment, the old man on the stage shouted suddenly, a $35 million bid from Suite 13. Is there anyone who would like to increase the bid? Liu Feiyun was taken aback. The smile on his face stiffened. He immediately lifted his head and looked towards the big screen. On it, Suite 13 had just made a bid for Li Bai's calligraphy work at $35 million. The crowd was slightly shocked too as they looked at the enraged Liu Feiyun. $40 million. Liu Feiyun's face sank. He lifted his head and looked to the location of the suite as he sneered. $45 million. At this moment, Suite 13 increased the bid by another $5 million. The gloominess on Liu Feiyun's face was heavy. Just a while ago, he still claimed confidently that everyone would show his Liu family respect. Just as he finished his sentence, someone stood out and competed with him. The action was similar to slapping him in the face. Chapter 173, Jewelry Standoff. Brother, do you want to buy this painting? Xiao Yu looked at Wang Xian shockingly in Suite 13. Nope. Wang Xian shook his head. Then why are you bidding on it? Xiao Yu threw him a stunned look. He just irks me. Wang Xian said with a smiling face. Xiao Yu and Elder Fang looked at Wang Xian, speechless. $50 million. Does anyone want to bid any further? This time, an elderly man's voice was heard. Wang Xian looked and realized that many people were casting their glances over their sides. Wang Xian gave a playful look and stopped his bid. Since Liu Feiyun was so determined to get that calligraphy, Wang Xian purposely raised the bid to annoy him. Liu Feiyun wanted to save his face. As long as the Liu family's reputation was concerned, he would not let go easily. Wang Xian took this as an advantage to up the price. Congratulations to Little Sword Celestial for winning the auction for Li Bai's authentic calligraphy. I hope young Master Liu can obtain the Sword Celestial's inheritance. When the elderly man on the auction table saw that Suite 13 gave up bidding, he knocked on the table and gave a final confirmation. Liu Feiyun was not as thrilled as just now even though he'd won the auction. His face turned glum, and he went silent. He might have gotten the authentic Li Bai calligraphy, but he spent an additional $25 million and got a slap in his face. Naturally, he was in a bad mood. One by one, the items were auctioned away. Next on the list, a tuft of level 2 spiritual medicine Renling leaves of 500 years. After consumption, it could enhance body strength and strengthen body skin. This was the famous foundation building spiritual medicine. The auction began from a base price of $15 million. Level 2 spirit medicine is beneficial to your current cultivation. I will bid on it for you. Elder Fang stared at the auction item again with an unwavering expression. She immediately increased the bid to $20 million. $20 million, $21 million, $22 million. The competition for level 2 spiritual medicine was better than those antiques. The number of competitors reached a dozen instantly. $30 million. Elder Fang was not surprised by this situation. When the bid hit $28 million, she increased to $30 million immediately. The price of $30 million has already surpassed the value of level 2 spiritual medicine. $30 million? Forget it. It's too expensive. Spending $30 million for a tuft of Renling leaves is not worth it at all. After all, it's only useful to level 4 and 5 martial artists. When the price hit $30 million, the individual families and sects shook their heads slowly. $30 million was beyond its own value. Elder Fang did not feel the pain for such a price that surpassed its own value. Since it was for the cultivation of Xiao Yu, it was worth it. Suite 13 bid $30 million. Is there any higher price? The elderly man stood on the stage and asked everyone. Suite 13. Cold radiance flashed in Liu Feiyun's eyes. He cast a glance upstairs and sneered. $31 million. Young Master Liu bid $31 million. Any more bidders? Liu Feiyun's bid slightly stunned the elderly man. Subsequently, He drew a smile on his face. The other party bid $30 million. They should be determined to get this tuft of spiritual leaves. Young Master Liu is upping the price. Looks like young Master Liu bears a grudge against Suite 13 from when they raised his bid just now. This is revenge. People from Suite 13 were ignorant. Provoking young Master Liu is not a wise choice. When the crowd saw Liu Fei-yun raise the bid for another million, they understood immediately and exchanged discussion in whispers. Back in the suite, Elder Fang's expression was awful when she saw Liu Fei-yun bid deliberately. Xiao Yu, at the side, raged as she glared at Liu Fei-yun, who was sneering. Forget it. Let him have it. It's just a lousy level 2 spiritual leaves, said Wang Xian to Elder Fang. He drew a faint, cold smile when Liu Fei-yun was competing with him. Elder Fang was slightly stunned with a mixed expression. Level 2 spiritual leaves are not lousy. Heh. Wang Xian chuckled out in embarrassment as though he spoke too haughtily. He quickly smiled and repeated, not lousy, not lousy. Any more bids? The elderly man's voice was heard from the auction table again. He was surprised as he looked towards the second story. Logically speaking, Suite 13 should continue to bid if they were determined to get this item. Why are they keeping quiet? Liu Fei-yun at table 8 was also taken aback. Coldness slowly faded out from his face. 1 second, 2 seconds, 10 seconds. Congratulations to young Master Liu for winning the level 2 Renling leaves once again. The congratulatory voice of the elderly was heard again. Gosh, they people of character. Young Master Liu was obviously provoking them. They actually surrendered. This is not about a man of character, but rather, that there is no need to fight anymore. For a level 2 Renling leaves, $30 million is already too much. This young Master Liu is unwise. He raised the bid because the other party wanted the item out of spite. In the end, the other party withdrew while he stumbled on it. The surrounding people exchanged their conversations in whispers as they looked at Liu Fei-yun and shook their heads. What a fool, little sword celestial. If it wasn't for his gifted talent in cultivation, he'd be totally useless. People from Suite 13 know their limits. On the contrary, Liu Fei-yun was too hot-headed. It's hard for him to succeed. In the hall, people from the Ancient Fist sect and Lingyu sect looked at Liu Fei-yun as they commented impassively. Young master, we still have to bid for the last few items. We should not overspend. A middle-aged man frowned slightly as he reminded Liu Fei-yun. I know. Liu Fei-yun darkened his expression as he stared at Suite 13 with resentment. Lan Qingyu, on the side, shook her head when she witnessed this. Next, we're auctioning the emerald gemstone, weighing 2 kilograms at a starting bid of $200 million. A jade green-colored emerald gemstone was taken out, and it was beaming with dazzling glow under the lights. Emerald gemstone was considered to be the top-class jewelry. A carat would cost tens of thousands. A 2-kilogram emerald gemstone was worth over millions of dollars. The emerald gemstone could be used to make a dozen sets of jewelry. The price of $200 million had silenced everyone in the hall. The affluent people stopped at the sight of it while the martial artists would not buy ravishing but impractical jewelry. $210 million. Just then, an aloof voice was heard. Lan Qingyu raised the price and spoke emotionlessly. $220 million. Ha. The Jew are determined to get this emerald gemstone and all the jewelry today. An arrogant voice cut the air as a middle-aged lady stood up with multiple posh accessories hanging around her. She spoke impassively to Lan Qingyu. $230 million, Lan Qingyu said as she looked at the lady with an unchanged expression. Chapter 174, A Strange Stone. $250 million. Just as Lan Qingyu completed her words, the voice of the middle-aged woman sounded. She looked at Lan Qingyu and gave a cold smirk. The two large jewelry companies are going against each other head-on, a contest between two organizations that are worth dozens of billions each. This is going to be interesting. I heard that Lingyu sect found a gemstone vein on Lingyu Mountain that produces lots of precious gemstones. The Jew jewelry has deep connections with Lingyu sect. After obtaining the support of Lingyu sect, The Jew Jewelry has been on a frantic drive to quash deep-sea jewelry. It was said that deep-sea jewelry's billion-dollar investment in Dongqing province failed completely a while ago and they lost everything. The Jew Jewelry has the backing of a first-class force while deep-sea jewelry doesn't have the support of any ancient martial arts forces. When competing with the Jew Jewelry, deep-sea jewelry is at a deep disadvantage. I heard that deep-sea jewelry will have a political marriage with the Liu family of the tyrannical sword. I wonder if that's true. The surrounding crowd was looking on in shock as they witnessed the contest of these two large organizations. Deep-sea Jewelry and the Jew Jewelry were ginormous organizations in the southern province and Dongqing province. Their financial wealth wasn't something that ordinary rich people could compete with. Despite seeing the strong stance put on by the middle-aged woman, Lan Qingyu maintained her emotionless face. $331, 53 million. If the Jew Jewelry would like to continue bidding, the deep-sea jewelry will choose to give up. Lan Qingyu said to the middle-aged woman plainly. When the middle-aged woman heard Lan Qingyu's bid, she was taken aback slightly as she stared at Lan Qingyu fervently. I finally understand why the Lan family will let a little girl like you take over the deep-sea jewelry. You're indeed capable. This piece of emerald gemstone is worth at most $331, 53 million when made into jewelry. You can choose to ignore the cost of production, but if this gets too high, it will become pointless. Nonetheless, what's important is that the deep-sea jewelry couldn't afford to absorb these losses. But the Jew Jewelry can. The middle-aged lady revealed a faint smile and increased the bid, $331, 54 million. Lan Qingyu wasn't shaken. She did not increase her bid or say a word. Congratulations to the Jew Jewelry for getting a precious piece of emerald gemstone at the price of $331, 54 million. The old man looked at the middle-aged woman in astonishment before glancing past Lan Qingyu. That's what a real businessman would look like and how a fully commercialized organization should act. The middle-aged woman from the Jew Jewelry was incredible, but the girl from deep-sea jewelry wasn't simple either. The auction resumed. Pieces after pieces of antiques, jewelry, painting, precious swords and various weapons and spiritual medicine were being auctioned off. Elder Fang was able to get her hands on a level 2 spiritual grass for Xiao Yu as she fulfilled her wish. Wang Xian looked at the various items put up for auction, but none really caught his attention. He didn't know how to appreciate antiques, jewelry and paintings, and had no need for weapons or spiritual medicine. He simply sat down and drank his tea. The next item is rather unique. One could see it as a piece of art. However, it has a faint mysterious energy signature and is indestructible. The consignor has placed this with us for sale at a starting price of $10 million. The auction was approaching the end. The old man took a sip of tea before announcing this to the crowd. A piece of stone was being brought up the stage on a tray. The stone was entirely red with tiny marks on it. It was the size of a fist and looked magical and beautiful. The crowd below the stage looked inquisitively at this unknown item. This piece of stone was obtained by the consignor by chance in the seas. Our auction house wasn't able to tell what this is. Even an inborn expert couldn't destroy this stone. The starting price is $10 million and the auction will begin now. The old man continued. The fist-sized stone was projected onto the screen for everyone to take a good look. An unknown item being auctioned at $10 million? Isn't this a little too expensive? A martial artist looked at the stone inquisitively. Even an inborn expert couldn't destroy it. It might be a treasure. Perhaps one could make a killing after buying it. Even an inborn expert couldn't tell what this is. Do you think you will know? What's the use of getting it? A few martial artists exchanged their views and the surrounding crowd nodded their heads in approval. Since the stone had been examined by inborn experts without results, what's the use of getting it? Oh, isn't this stone pretty beautiful? The middle-aged lady from the Jew Jewelry was interested. She hesitated for a moment before entering a bid price of $10 million. The Jew Jewelry is really rich. All the jewelry sold today was bought by them and they had spent approximately $400 to $500 million in total. Deep-sea jewelry isn't able to get any peace at all. The rich always have the final word. For the near future, The Ju Jewelry might just become the largest jewelry company in the country. The surrounding crowd was astonished. With the support of Lingyu sect, the Ju Jewelry might evolve into the largest jewelry company in the future. When the middle-aged woman heard the exclamations of the crowd, she was carkily pleased as she touched the ruby in her hand. That stone. Why is it giving me a strange sensation? In a suite on the second floor, Wang Xian was taken aback when he saw that stone. He had felt a strange sensation welling up in his mind. He felt that this piece of red stone wasn't dead but alive. Why would I get this feeling? Wang Xian frowned deeply. However, as the distance was too far, he couldn't get any information. This piece of stone isn't simple. Wang Xian focused and made up his mind immediately. Following which, he entered his bid, $11 million. Suite 13 has made the bid of $11 million. Is there anyone who has a higher bid? The old man announced loudly. The middle-aged woman hesitated for a moment before increasing the bid to $12 million. $13 million. Wang Xian didn't up his bid immediately. Instead, he hesitated for a moment before shouting. The middle-aged lady from the Ju Jewelry didn't follow and the crowd didn't join in. $13 million. Deal. Congratulations Suite 13 for getting this piece of mysterious stone. I hope that you will be able to unveil the mysterious aura around this stone. The old man congratulated him. Brother, what did you buy this stone for? Xiao Yu looked at him and asked while feeling lost. I feel that this stone isn't simple. I bought it to do some research on it. Wang Xian said. How can a stone be so special? Xiao Yu commented but didn't continue further. Wang Xian also didn't answer. His eyes were fixed on the employee carrying the stone towards their suite. Wang Xian realized that the closer the stone was, the stronger the feeling he had. That palpitation seemed to have triggered a response from the deepest part of his bloodline. This stone is definitely not simple. Wang Xian felt his heart tingle and he stood up gradually. Creak. The door was opened and the employee walked in with the red stone. Sir, this is the item you have bid for. Wang Xian looked at that stone. His body froze immediately and his eyes were filled with shock. Essence Blood of the Suzaku. Chapter 175 Spiritual Stone. Blood Essence of Suzaku. Wang Xian looked at the red stone, shocked. Suzaku was one of the 5 phoenixes. They were named Red Suzaku, Yellow Ensu, Green Ran, Purple Soku Utari, White Hunjun. Phoenixes, like the divine dragons, were the top race in the universe. In history and myths, the emperors were represented by dragons, and the empresses were represented by phoenixes. The Chinese idiom 9 and 5 reign supreme was originated from the 9 dragons and 5 phoenixes. Phoenixes had a formidable ability, nirvana, ability to be reborn. It was different from the 9 divine dragon transformations of the dragon race. The 5 phoenixes' cultivation was known as 9 nirvana transformations. At the same time, it was the most formidable existence in the universe. Wang Xian did not expect he could buy a piece of Suzaku essence blood with more than $10 million. This was hitting the jackpot. Suzaku blood essence, level 15. No dragon energy could be extracted, but it could be used to refine medicine, weapons, and nirvana. A simple message appeared in Wang Xian's brain. Such a simple blood essence was actually a level 15. This was a total surprise to him. A piece of Suzaku's blood essence was already level 15. It was not hard to imagine its mightiness. After Wang Xian swiped his card, he could not take his eyes off the blood essence. Brother, what is this thing? Xiao Yu observed it with curiosity. Good stuff. I'm going to study it. Wang Xian stared at it. Xiao Yu rolled eyes at his behavior and continued to focus on the next round of the auction. The auction had begun with the last few items bidding. The competition remained fierce. How can we activate this thing? Wang Xian stared at the Suzaku's blood essence puzzledly. With a slight hesitation, his finger moved, and a drop of blood appeared. He slowly smeared the blood on the stone, and the blood slowly seeped into the Suzaku blood essence. And then, nothing happened. Wang Xian tried to instill Inferno Dragon energy, but soon, he realized nothing got in. Is it because of my low level? After playing it for 20 minutes, Wang Xian did not figure out how to use the Suzaku blood essence. He was ignorant of refining medicines and weapons. As for nirvana, he knew nuts about it. Without any choice, Wang Xian could only keep the Suzaku blood essence for now. I wasn't expecting that Manjak Ji would be hiding in the crowd. Totally unexpected. Master, who is he? There is a saying in the ancient martial world. Be mad, be a maniac. Do whatever it takes, Maniac Ji Yuankuan. What a name. I saw that Liu family, ancient fist sect, Lingyu sect, and demon subduing sect were quite wary of him. Master, how strong is he? An inborn expert. Just then, the exclamations from Elder Fang and Xiao Yu drew Wang Xian's attention. He spun around with doubts and looked down. A man was sitting at the last table at the back. His shoulder-length hair hid his face as he sat there like a dead person. Everyone in front of him was looking at this man with fear and respect. Master, why do people call him a maniac? Asked Xiao Yu curiously. There's a reason behind it. Ji Yuankuan was from an ancient martial artist family in Flow City. Back then, Ji family was of second-class strength. His father was a half-step to inborn. After they provoked a first-class force, his entire family got eliminated. Both parents and his wife were killed. At that time, he fled with his 5-year-old son in his arms. 10 years later, Ji Yuankuan hunted down his enemies on his own and exterminated that first-class force. More than 1,000 people were killed. It was a shocking piece of national news. But Ji Yuankuan was avenging himself, so none of them said anything. After which, Ji Yuankuan killed the miracle doctor ranked number 9 on the miracle doctor's chart. He did that because of his son. His son was saved 10 years ago, but he was poisoned and remained unconscious all the time. It was Ji Yuankuan who used a myriad of spiritual medicines to keep his son alive. He brought his son to seek medical treatment, but was humiliated by that miracle doctor. Hence, Ji Yuankuan killed him. His family demise and his unconscious son seemed to have impacted him, causing him to act eccentrically. Now, he does crazy things to cure his son's illness. With his terrifying strength, none of the forces are willing to provoke him, said Elder Fang slowly. Then he's quite pathetic, said Xiao Yu. Elder Fang chuckled. This type of person is the most frightening. The strongest person in the southern province is Maniac Ji. He did not rebuild his family nor join any forces. By the way, the auction has ended. Let's go down. Didn't your brother wants to auction some stuff? Elder Fang threw a glance at Wang Xian. Okay, let's go down. Wang Xian nodded. Miracle Dr. Wang, let's detour to avoid the suspicion of others, said Elder Fang to Wang Xian as she took them on a detour. Wang Xian knew her qualm. She was worried that Liu Feiyun would suspect they were in Suite 13. After detouring, Wang Xian realized that no one had left the place. The wealthy people, families, and sects were still looking at the auction table. On the stage stood a martial artist who was holding a level 2 spiritual medicine. Level 2 spiritual medicine in exchange for 100 pieces of stone with spiritual strength. I wonder if anyone wishes to trade. After the auction ended, 9 Stars Auction House would provide a free trading place for all the guests to trade their items. A spiritual stone. Just when the middle-aged martial artist was waiting for a reply, a cold voice cut through the air suddenly. The middle-aged martial artist cast his glance over and narrowed his pupils. Immediately, he said, "Sure, Senior G." Maniac G swung his arm from the back row, and a white, twinkling spiritual stone was sent flying to the middle-aged martial artist. Spiritual stone, a complete spiritual stone. This deal is worth it. A spiritual stone is usually used by inborn experts for their cultivations. The value of it is more than level 2 spiritual medicine. I have heard that Maniac Sai has been collecting various spiritual medicine. Looks like the rumor is true. The surrounding crowd exchanged discussion in whispers. Wang Xian looked at the spiritual stone falling into the middle-aged martial artist's hand slowly. He was stunned. Spiritual stone, 100 grams. Can be used for cultivation. Spiritual stone. It's the real spiritual stone. When the message appeared in Wang Xian's brain, his eyes turned passionate. He finally saw the core material required for building the Dragon Palace, spiritual stone. This spiritual stone is 100 grams, yet its value is more than $10 million. If he needs a ton of spiritual stone, that would be 1,000 kilograms. Based on the price, 10,000 of such spiritual stones would cost $100 billion. Wang Xian thought for a moment and frowned. I have a family sword that cut iron like mud. I would like to exchange it for level 1 spiritual medicine for improving blood circulation or cash. After the middle-aged martial artist went down, another martial artist went up to the stage with a honed sword. Wang Xian ignored the auction on the stage as he fixed his eyes on Maniac Sai at the back. Since he possessed spiritual stone, he must have known how to obtain them. Chapter 176, Heart-Shaped Blood Coral. Brother, aren't you going to auction some items? If you are, hurry up. Xiao Yu reminded Wang Xian as he saw him pondering. There had been 5 to 6 people who had gone up to trade their items. After Wang Xian recovered, he looked forward as a well-suited magnate walked down the auction stage. Just as he was about to stand up, Liu Feiyun from Table 8 stood up before him. It was obvious that he did not get anything he wanted from the auction previously, evident from his bleak expression. As Liu Feiyun walked up to the stage, he looked at Lan Qingyu before looking around. His gaze eventually stopped at Lingyu sect and the Ju jewelry. He took out an exquisite box from his pocket and opened it. I believe all of you can guess what the item I'll be trading away is. Yes, this is one of the petals from the ethereal flower. Its value can match that of a level 3 spiritual medicine. I want to trade this for any jewelry. Any type of jewelry will do as long as its value matches that of this petal. Those from the Ju jewelry and Lingyu sect, do you want to trade? As Liu Feiyun spoke, he started to grin, and a slight sense of domination could be felt from him. Cuckoo, I did not expect that Liu's family to come up with such a precious item to support deep-sea jewelry. It seems like we will be facing off against them directly in the near future. A middle-aged man from Lingyu spoke indifferently as he looked at Liu Feiyun with a smile. Liu Feiyun looked towards Lingyu and replied calmly, now that the deep-sea jewelry has the support from our Liu's family, no one can take advantage of them easily. Haha. Great. In that case, we will like to give it a try. Liu family of the tyrannical sword? TSK. The middle-aged man from Lingyu sect snorted. There was tension in the air. Liu Feiyun was undaunted. At this moment, he seemed domineering and indeed lived up to his name of the Little Sword Celestial. Everyone, I'll be trading level 3 spiritual medicine for jewelry of equivalent value. If you have such jewelry, you may come forward to trade. If you don't have it now, you can come to the Liu family in the future for trade. Liu Feiyun repeated himself before turning to Lan Qingyu. After which, he left the stage with a delighted expression. He believed that his actions would definitely move Lan Qingyu. Lingyu sect is supporting the Ju jewelry and now, the Liu family is supporting deep-sea jewelry. This is going to be interesting. The Ju jewelry has the support from a first-class force. Deep-sea jewelry has to react and find a strong cooperation partner. Otherwise, they wouldn't be a match at all. Trading spiritual herbs for jewelry, from what it seems, Liu's family is giving great support for deep-sea jewelry. In the future, they might just have a chance against Ju's family jewelry. Wang Xian pondered as he overheard these conversations of the crowd. It seems that the Lan's family might have run into some crisis. After Liu Feiyun exited, Wang Xian stood up immediately and walked towards the auction stage. Everyone's attention was on him as they waited in anticipation to see what he would be taking out for trade. Below the stage, Lan Qingyu was staring at Wang Xian blankly. Liu Feiyun looked at Wang Xian with a heavy expression on his face. Glimmers flashed in his eyes. I'm selling a few things. Wang Xian smiled as he spoke. He then took out 4 exquisite blood corals. Blood corals, a type of precious gemstones from the seas. There are 4 of them here and one of them is. As Wang Xian spoke, he lifted one of them to show it to the crowd. A heart-shaped blood coral that is formed naturally. I believe that the value of this would be very high. I'm selling all of these and accepting only cash. Wow, these blood coral are so stunning. 4 blood corals with 2 of them likely weighing 4 to 5 catties. These are valuable. Naturally formed heart-shaped blood coral. That blood coral is simply breathtaking. It also has a branch that looks just like a red line. It's beautiful. Blood corals are often regarded as precious gems that aren't inferior to diamonds. These 4 blood corals would likely be worth more than $300 to $400 million. Below the stage, the crowd exclaimed. Bang! At this moment, a middle-aged woman from the jewelry stood up with eyes beaming with desire as she stared at the heart-shaped blood coral. Heart-shaped blood coral, and one that is formed naturally. Using just this as a marketing gimmick would be enough to bring huge fame for the jewelry. In fact, if the publicity was done well, the heart-shaped blood coral would enable the jewelry to make its way to the top rankings of jewelry companies in the entire world. Naturally formed blood corals that had auspicious symbolism weren't something that emerald gemstone could compete. Lan Qingyu also stared fervently at the heart-shaped blood coral in Wang Xian's hands. She clenched her fist tightly. $400 million. The jewelry will be taking all these blood corals, the middle-aged lady from the jewelry shouted as she stared at the blood corals on the stage. $420 million. Lan Qingyu shouted without any hesitation. $450 million. The middle-aged woman had no hesitation either. Give us those blood corals and our Liu family will ensure you a life of wealth and fame, Liu Feiyun said to Wang Xian as he saw the competition that involved Lan Qingyu. Do he need the Liu family to give him a life of wealth and fame? A middle-aged man from Lingyu sect stood up immediately and continued, sell them to us and you will get the friendship of Lingyu sect. I'll forgive you for offending me previously. You can also use these blood corals to exchange for level 3 spiritual medicine from the Liu family. I'll give you 5 petals of the ethereal flower. Liu Feiyun ignored the middle-aged man and remarked coldly, my friend, you've got to think this through. Sell it to us and the Lingyu sect will ensure your safety. You won't have to worry about others taking revenge on you. Sensing the aggression towards Wang Xian from Lingyu sect and Liu Feiyun, Lan Qingyu frowned slightly and said to Liu Feiyun, young Master Liu, I can compete for this on my own. I don't need the Liu family to help me. It's all right, Qingyu, leave this to me. I will definitely get those blood corals for you. Liu Feiyun replied confidently. Lan Qingyu frowned further as she looked at Wang Xian. She increased her bid once again, $500 million. The value of these blood corals has exceeded my expectations. Wang Xian was slightly shocked at the development. He turned his gaze to Lingyu sect and Liu Feiyun and a cold light flashed in his eyes. An auction is an auction. Trying to threaten me? We have a deal, Wang Xian said as he looked at Lan Qingyu. Lan Qingyu was stunned but revealed a faint smile. Ha. You are a smart person. This is a wise decision. Liu Feiyun laughed heartily and remarked as he saw Wang Xian selling these blood corals to them. He then looked at Lingyu sect with a taunting expression. HMMPF. The middle-aged man from Lingyu snorted as he looked at Wang Xian. Ha, you are interested in level 3 spiritual medicine? Liu Feiyun looked arrogantly at Wang Xian and asked. I didn't say I was selling them to you. Furthermore, what use do I have for those 5 petals? To rear bees. When Wang Xian saw the arrogant looks of Liu Feiyun, he wasn't pleased at all. He didn't know why he always found him extremely annoying. Wang Xian's words shocked the surrounding crowd. What just happened? Brat, what are you saying? Level 3 spiritual medicine. Do you know the value of level 3 spiritual medicine? Insolent brat. When Liu Feiyun heard him, his face darkened instantly. Chapter 177, The Impact from Level 4 Spiritual Medicine. How arrogant. 5 Level 3 spiritual medicines are more than enough to exchange these blood corals. This young man actually said it's for rearing bees. Ignorant people aren't afraid of anything. How dare he say he'd use Level 3 spiritual medicines of Liu family to rear bees. Those were the flower petals from the Level 4 ethereal flower. Each of them is equivalent to level 3 spiritual medicine, and they are priceless. I guess he didn't know the value of level 3 spiritual medicines. He was lucky to have gotten those blood corals. All the martial artists' families and sects were dumbfounded when they heard Wang Xian. Subsequently, They commented sarcastically. Not only level 3 spiritual medicines, but even level 1 ones were also precious. Only the first-class forces could lay their hands on level 3 spiritual medicines. Liu family could become the first-class force because they had 2 stalks of level 4 ethereal flowers. Hence, they had consistent supplies of ethereal flowers petals. In fact, every level of spiritual medicine marked a difference. Some of the spiritual medicine trees could bear a lot of spiritual medicines. Hence, the value would be higher. Ethereal flower petals were considered to be low in value among the level 3 spiritual medicines. But it was not easy to obtain either. Now, Wang Xian actually commented on using them for rearing bees. Thus, everyone felt he was too arrogant. Are the level 3 spiritual medicines formidable? Wang Xian chuckled softly as he looked at Liu Feiyun. Then he turned to Lan Qingyu and picked up the blood corals. We'll deal according to the price you said. Lan Qingyu stared at Wang Xian with gleaming eyes. She stood up slowly, nodded, and walked over. I'll transfer the money immediately to you. Lan Qingyu took over 4 blood corals with surprise flashing across her eyes. Wang Xian nodded and did not utter another word. Lad, aren't you talking big? It's better to stay low profile. The value of level 3 spiritual medicine is not something you can spout nonsense about. When Lan Qingyu took over the blood corals from Wang Xian, Liu Feiyun clenched his fist with a dreadful expression. You are the arrogant one. Wang Xian glared at Liu Feiyun with a disdainful look. He then took out a yellow fruit from his pocket slowly. Let's carry on with the auction. Spiritual bead, a level 4 spiritual medicine, spiritual bead fruit. What? When Wang Xian took out the spiritual bead fruit from his pocket, a faint, refreshing aroma drifted into the air. Boom. At this moment, people from dozens of tables stood up in the auction hall as they stared at the fruit in Wang Xian's hand with fire in their eyes. The fruit bore by spiritual bead. It's 2,000 years old, level 4 spiritual fruit. This can give you an additional 10% chance to attain half-step to inborn for level 9 martial artists. This thing is a must-have. We need to get it. The fruit from level 4 spiritual bead. This is even more valuable than the petals of ethereal flower. Gosh, how did this young man get level 4 spiritual fruit? All the martial artists from the families and sects stared hard at the level 4 fruit with burning eyes. They almost went short of breath. Level 4 spiritual fruit was extremely beneficial to a family or a sect. If any of the level 9 experts from the clans or families could achieve half-step to inborn realm with this fruit, their family or sects would attain huge improvements. In particular, those third-class forces could upgrade their strength by a class with a half-step to inborn expert. And the fruit could give birth to 1 half-step to inborn expert. In history, level 4 spiritual fruit has only appeared thrice in 9 Stars Auction House. It's totally unexpected to encounter one over here. An elderly level 9 martial artist was exhilarated as he stood up, staring at the spiritual fruit. No wonder he said Liu family's level 3 spiritual medicine was trash. He's got a better one, and he actually took it out to trade. Damn, compared to the level 4 spiritual fruit, Liu family's level 3 ethereal flower petals are indeed trash. Young lad, what do you want to trade this spiritual fruit for? An old man from the demon-subduing sect asked Wang Xian with a pair of eager eyes. Spiritual stones. I only want to trade for spiritual stones through bids. Wang Xian said immediately. Initially, he had wanted to trade for money. But the corals fetched a price that was beyond his expectations. Besides, the spiritual stones appeared. As he spoke, he turned to look at Maniac G at the back. Just then, Maniac G lifted his head and revealed half of his head, looking at the level 4 spiritual fruit in Wang Xian's hand. Spiritual stone. After Wang Xian revealed his trading requirement, everyone had a complicated look. Spiritual stones were valuable, and not any ordinary families or sects could possess them. Besides, they did not have a large number even if they owned some. Without 70 or 80 spiritual stones, it was impossible to win the auction. At table 8, Liu Feiyun continued to have a mixed expression on his face. He fixed his gaze on the spiritual fruit in Wang Xian's hand and gritted his teeth. He did not expect this fellow to have a level 4 spiritual fruit. Recalling what had happened just now when he asked Wang Xian if he knew the value of the level 3 spiritual medicine, it was another slap in the face. And this was not the first time today. Young Master Liu, level 4 spiritual fruit. We must fight for it. We must win it. Just then, the middle-aged man beside Liu Fei Yun exclaimed excitedly, "If we can win this spiritual fruit, our head of family will be pleased." The voice of his middle-aged steward darkened Liu Fei Yun's expression even more. He took a deep breath and nodded with a dreadful look. Upon seeing Wang Xian stir up a commotion with just a thing he took out, Lan Qingyu had a look of yearning. If she was the chosen one, how wonderful it would be. 70 spiritual stones. An old man from the demon-subduing sect bid immediately. 71 spiritual stones, a young man from Ancient Fist sect shouted. 73 spiritual stones. Liu Fei Yun clenched his teeth and yelled. Ho ho, why is the Liu family participating in the auction? The middle-aged man from Lingyu sect looked at Liu Fei Yun and jeered at him. Just now, I wonder who said the other party was ignorant about the value of spiritual medicine? And who claimed that his level 3 spiritual medicine was awesome? Since it's so awesome, why do you have to bid? Liu Fei Yun's face turned black immediately upon hearing what he said. If you want to bid, just offer your price. Stop saying useless shit. Mph, how arrogant for a junior, just because he thinks he's the little sword celestial. The middle-aged man from Lingyu sect had chilly eyes. He shouted out immediately, 75 spiritual stones. 76. 77 4 first-class forces are competing for it. Forget it, we are not qualified to participate in this. Spiritual stones are the hard currency for the top-notch forces. But it's too difficult to obtain them. I only had 3 of them, and I already used them all up for my cultivation. The rest of the people watched dumbfoundedly as Liu family, Ancient Fist sect, Demon Subduing sect, and Lingyu sect competed against each other. All of them let out a soft sigh. They were totally ineligible to participate. 85 spiritual stones. Just when the 4 first-class forces were in a heated competition, Maniac G's voice cut the air once again as he raised the bid to 85 spiritual stones. This was an extremely high offer. Chapter 178, Maniac G. The offer from Maniac G made the 4 main bidders hesitate. It wasn't because they were afraid of the Maniac G's strength. For a level 4 spiritual fruit, they would dare to continue bidding even if they were going against Maniac G. However, Maniac G's offer was too high. A level 4 spiritual fruit was worth around 80 spiritual stones. It would not be a good deal for them if the price went any higher. 85 spiritual stone. Maniac G's offer is too high. In order to cure his son, Maniac G is searching all over the world for all kinds of spiritual medicine. He won't be concerned about the price. Sigh, it seems like Maniac G is going to win the bid for this spiritual fruit. Putting Maniac G aside, who is this young man? He can't be simple, especially since he has a level 4 spiritual fruit. I agree, he can't be simple. Since he dares to mock the little sword celestial, he definitely has someone's backing. Those who were around started to whisper as they witnessed the events unfolded. Wang Xian looked satisfied, especially when he saw the 4 main powers stopped increasing their bid. He was contented with 85 spiritual stones. These added up to 8,500 grams. Although it was still far from the target of 1 ton, at least there was progress. Wang Xian said, "Congratulations, Senior G, for securing this spiritual fruit." He smiled as he looked at Maniac G and walked towards him with the fruit. Maniac G nodded and looked at Wang Xian. "Take this," Wang Xian said as he put the spiritual fruit beside him. Maniac G picked up the fruit and retrieved 85 spiritual stones from the bag beside him. "For you, Miracle Dr. Wang," he said. "Oh, you know me?" Wang Xian replied with surprise. "I am familiar with all the miracle doctors that are ranked in the top 50s. Since Miracle Dr. Wang had defeated Fang Huazi, who was ranked 18, I would have definitely heard about you," Maniac G said with a blank face. "I see." Wang Xian laughed. He looked at Maniac G and continued, "Senior G, do you want me to take a look at your son? Your medical skills are still insufficient. Maniac G commented calmly. Don't you want me to give it a try? After all, your son's conditions are already as such. What if I can cure him? Wang Xian insisted with a smile on his face. There was also a tinge of excitement in his tone. Get out of my sight. Or die. At this moment, Maniac G lifted his head slightly with killing intent clearly directed towards Wang Xian. Those who said such things about his son were courting death. What's going on? That young man offended Maniac G? Fuck, he must be courting death. How dare he offend Maniac G? That's equivalent to seeking his demise. At this moment, those in front of them visibly felt the intense killing intent. Everyone's heart skipped a beat and turned their attention over. This guy is courting death. I hope Maniac G kills that young man. A flicker of surprise flashed across Liu Feiyun's eyes as he spoke and gloated. Elder Fang and Xiao Yu looked over hysterically. Maniac G was seated in the last row and the seats in the middle were empty. As a result, many did not overhear their conversation. However, they knew that the young man had offended Maniac G. This is Maniac G's style. Killing a person once he gets into an argument. As Wang Xian felt Maniac G's aura, he did not care much. He stretched his hand over to tap on Maniac G's shoulder. When Maniac G saw the composed looks on Wang Xian, bloodthirst welled up in him as he grabbed towards Wang Xian's arm. Pack. Wang Xian's arm was stopped by Maniac G. However, he still managed to tap on Maniac G's shoulder twice. If you believe in my medical skills, you can look for me at Old Street. You know it. Wang Xian smiled while he turned and left. What's going on? Why didn't Maniac G strike? The young man must have said something that offended Maniac G. However, Maniac G probably did not want to kill him. Although Maniac G is eccentric, he doesn't kill the innocent. He probably has clear rules on who he should or should not kill. At this moment, no one saw the astonished looks on Maniac G hidden behind his long and messy hair. He looked blankly at his palm which was blood-flushed, and he was in awe. How could he be so strong? Maniac G mumbled to himself. Just a few moments ago, he had felt fear trickling down his soul when his palm touched the young man's arm. He was certain that the young man was stronger than him, and the difference was huge. Wang Xian smiled as he walked to Xiao Yu and Elder Fang's side. It was all his intentions to speak so much to Maniac G and even taunt him with words. He had his own thoughts for providing treatment to Maniac G's son. He felt that it was time that he paid more attention to the construction of the Dragon Palace. In the near future, he should try to look for the resources required. The trading session continued to about 3 p.m. in the afternoon. When the trading session ended, Wang Xian, Elder Fang and Xiao Yu smiled and exited the venue. It had been a fruitful trip for Wang Xian today. Suzaku's essence blood, 85 spiritual stones, $500 million in cash and relevant information about spiritual stone. He was thrilled. The ancient martial arts families and sects from the southern province, Hailing province and Dongqing province were left in bewilderment as they looked at them leaving. Lan Qingyu looked at Wang Xian and hesitated. After a while, she quickened her pace and walked towards him. She called out, "Wang Xian." The voice shocked Wang Xian. He turned around and smiled. Lan Qingyu said gratefully, "Thank you for the day." Wang Xian smiled and replied, "That's not necessary. We are classmates after all." Lan Qingyu smiled and replied, "Still, I should thank you." At a few meters away, Liu Feiyun was beaming with killing intent as he thought to himself, "Damn you brat. And you, Lan Qingyu. You will be marrying me in the near future and yet you are acting so flirtatiously." He clenched his fist tightly. Liu Feiyun was deeply embarrassed today. Liu Feiyun looked at his butler and said with rage, "Butler Zhao, check it out. I want to know the background of this brat and where he obtained the spiritual fruit from. I want him dead and I want you to bring his head to me." "Yes, young master," Butler Zhao replied and nodded. Liu Feiyun had a savage expression on his face and mumbled, "It will be our engagement ceremony in 5 days. You dare to mix with an external guy right here? Lan Qingyu, I will definitely give you a surprise once we are engaged. I will make you submit to me under my crouch. After a brief chat with Lan Qingyu, the two went their own ways. Wang Xian wasn't clear about his feelings for Lan Qingyu. Nonetheless, he knew that there was a sense of guilt. After driving into the villa, Elder Fang brought Xiao Yu to train. As for Wang Xian, he went to the courtyard, got a big vase, and filled it with soil before bringing the vase with soil to the top of the villa. After which, he planted various spiritual grasses in it. He nodded with satisfaction and lay down under the sunshade umbrella by the side. He then took out his phone and called Guan Shuqing. Wang Xian pondered about getting her to the villa and then, here. Chapter 179, Invited for a Treatment. The next morning, it was the 4th day of their 7-day holiday. After watching Xiao Yu practice her sword in the courtyard, Wang Xian came to the Divine Dragon Medical Hall at the Old Street. The medical hall had been closed for 4 days. Some of the calls from the hospitals were rejected by him too. Even though I have $500 million now, I must continue to work hard when I think of the resources required for Dragon Palace. Wang Xian opened the door of Divine Dragon Medical Hall, boiled a flask of hot water and poured himself a cup of tea with smiles. He lay there while waiting for patients to come to him. In less than 20 minutes, an ambulance siren was heard outside. Wang Xian had already called and instructed the hospitals to send those patients in need over on his way to the medical hall. Be careful. Careful when you shift to the bed. Here, no hurry. Doctor, is the miracle doctor here that formidable? If he wasn't that formidable, would I have taken you here? Speak no more after you enter. You need to abide by the rules. Otherwise, you'll bear the consequences. You should have found out about the reputation of the Divine Dragon Medical Hall these past 2 days. The conversation between the family members of the patient and the doctor was heard from the outside. One by one, 3 patients were brought in one shot. Wang Xian stood up and swept his gaze across the 3 patients. Payment first, and I guarantee your recovery. After his shout, he went to the patient and began his treatment. Miracle Dr. Wang. I brought my son here. Please take a look at him. At this point, a voice was heard. Bring him upstairs first. You need to queue for getting treatment. Wang Xian did not look back at him as he spoke. Maniac Ji was not displeased at all. He immediately signaled to the people behind him with gestures. The few of them nodded and carried a juvenile out from a car outside with care. The juvenile was 14 or 15 years old with rosy cheeks, and did not seem like a patient at all. However, the juvenile was unconscious with no signs of waking up. One could vaguely see the black bones of the juvenile. Wang Xian was treating another 3 patients. To avoid being watched, he got a few curtains in the room so that no one could see him from the outside. Maniac Ji watched everything Wang Xian was doing. Subsequently, he stood quietly at the side. The rest of the family members were standing at the side too. Is this the place? Divine Dragon Medical Hall, it should be here. I heard there's a new miracle doctor that entered the miracle doctor chart. Now he's ranked 18, so he should be quite skillful. He beat Fang Huazi to earn his ranking, but he has no cases to prove his reputation. Let's try and see if he can cure Big Brother's injuries. If not, we'll have to find the miracle doctor from the medical saint sect. Just then, there were a few middle-aged men talking outside the door. They were dressed uniformly with a wolf embroidered on their clothes. Is Miracle Dr. Wang around? Asked the 3 of them directly. When they stepped into the medical hall, they frowned when they saw that people were standing around in silence. Queue up if you're here for treatment. Wang Xian answered impassively when he heard the voice outside. The 3 of them were stunned and chuckled immediately. Dianlong sect would like to invite Miracle Dr. Wang to Rongzhou to treat our big brother. We'll reward you handsomely then. Rongzhou? Wang Xian was slightly taken by surprise, as no one had ever come to Rivertown to invite him for treatment. It looked like his reputation had traveled far, which was a good thing. I don't have much time these next 2 days. You can bring him over. Wang Xian smiled and replied. Rongzhou might not be far from here, but it would take 4 to 5 hours of traveling. He would waste a day if he traveled back and forth, which was a troublesome thing. Ha! The middle-aged man in the center knit his eyebrow slightly and said again, Miracle Dr. Wang, our big brother's injuries are quite severe. He's not fit to travel so far. I hope you can come along with us. How much are you paying if I cure him? Wang Xian asked immediately as he frowned. $20 million. So long as you can cure our big brother's injuries, we will pay you $20 million. Also, we'll provide those required herbs and spiritual medicines. The middle-aged man continued. $20 million? Wang Xian shook his head and declined. I'm busy. You. The middle-aged man was stunned as his expression turned awful. It was more than respectful for a first-class sect, Jianlong sect, here to invite a miracle doctor that was ranked 18. But the other party did not even give them any face. Besides, he did not even come out to show his face. Miracle Dr. Wang, we can negotiate the price again. You should at least show your face. You're not showing respect to us if you do this. The middle-aged man darkened his expression as he spoke to Wang Xian. Wang Xian, who was treating a patient inside with his azure dragon energy, frowned. Impatiently, he drew the curtain open and looked at the three of them outside. I'm busy. If you want to get treatment, bring the patient over. Make your choice, and stop interrupting my treatment of other patient. Wang Xian looked at the three middle-aged men and spoke without any patience. Fuck, it took us almost 5 hours to get here just to invite you over. Is this the right attitude? Your ranking isn't high, and you're fucking proud of it. How could you not give a face to Jianlong sect? A middle-aged man looked at Wang Xian with fury on his face. Looking at you, I don't think you deserve your reputation. You look so young. I wonder what means you used to win Fang Huazi. That's enough, third brother. Stop it. The middle-aged man in the center frowned slightly and waved his hand to stop him. He then looked at Wang Xian and coldly said, We heard about your reputation, and that you're young and promising. But you're such an arrogant fellow that you are not showing the Jianlong sect respect, even when we came here and invited you. Heh. Scram if you're not here for treatment. Just then, Maniac Ji's voice was heard from the side before Wang Xian could reply. He lifted his head and looked at the trio from Jianlong sect with immense killing intent in his eyes. The three of them froze as they spun around with nasty looks. An infuriating bellow sounded. Fuck you again. But when they saw Maniac Ji, they swallowed whatever words they had. Their eyes were wide open as they looked at him with disbelief. You are Maniac Ji. The three middle-aged men trembled all of a sudden as they revealed frightening expressions. Inborn expert, Maniac Ji, was well known for his name. They had even seen him before. Looking at the middle-aged man whose hair was long, and who was filled with a murderous aura, who else other than Maniac Ji could be here? They swallowed a mouthful of saliva with great fear in their eyes. Senior Ji, hello. We'll leave now. Like now. The trio was full of fear. They were well aware that Maniac Ji was a terrifying existence as he had once exterminated a first-class force all by himself. Even though Jianlong sect was also a first-class force, they were not that different from the one that Maniac Ji had exterminated. If their sect leader knew they provoked Maniac Ji, they would get slaughtered immediately just to appease Maniac Ji's anger. After all, Maniac Ji liked to do things based on his preferences, and he could kill anyone without batting his eyes. Chapter 180, The Treatment. The trio is so arrogant. The first thing they did was to demand Miracle Dr. Wang to follow them to Jianlong sect to treat their big brother. That guy with long hair looks so strong. The trio was terrified by just a sentence from him. Even the middle-aged man with long hair had to queue with his son for the treatment, and yet the trio dared to demand that the miracle doctor follow them to Rongzhou right away. Don't they know the rules here? How dare they still kick up a fuss here? At this moment, those around the group started to whisper to one another. As the trio overheard the conversations, their bodies stiffened. There was a flicker of fear in their eyes. Even the Maniac Ji brought his son here for treatment and queued patiently for his turn. Is he just a miracle doctor that ranked near the 20s in the ranking board? Even the miracle doctor that ranked 9 was murdered when he offended the Maniac Ji. We are sorry, Miracle Dr. Wang, we will scram immediately. Immediately. The trio left the place immediately with fear evident on their faces. Looking at the trio with slight disdain, Wang Xian shook his head slowly. It was human nature to bully the weak and be fearful of the strong. Ignoring this brief interlude, Wang Xian walked to the last person in the queue and continued with his treatment. After 5 minutes, he nodded with satisfaction and walked out. "Let's go take a look at your son," he said to Maniac G. "Yes." With a flicker of hope in his eyes, Maniac G nodded his head and followed Wang Xian up the stairs. At the second story, Maniac G walked to his son who was on the bed. His eyes were filled with love he had for his son. With determination in his eyes, he said, "Miracle Dr. Wang, I can promise you anything so long as you can cure my son." Wang Xian nodded his head and looked at the young man who was on the bed. "Haven't you looked for other skillful miracle doctors to treat him?" Maniac G replied in a solemn expression, "I once approached the ranked 4 miracle doctor. He told me that only the 10,000 years cleansing elixir could cure him. The 10,000 years cleansing elixir was considered to be level 7 or 8 spiritual medicine. Disregarding the chances of finding it, whether it really existed was a question." After hearing from the Maniac G, Wang Xian reached out and lifted the young man's arm. He felt a slight warmth from his arm and a faint glow emitting from his arm. However, one could also vaguely see that his bones had turned black. The toxins had already bound with his bones. Ordinary medical techniques couldn't possibly cure it. It would require a large amount of strong spiritual herbs to purge the toxins from the bones. While holding the young man's arm, Wang Xian injected a stream of azure dragon energy into his body. Through his senses, he noticed that the young man's bones were all pitched black. It looked horrifying. However, there was a sweet scent of spiritual medicine emitted from his body too. If it wasn't for the vast amount of spiritual medicine in his body, he would have died long ago. Maniac G told Wang Xian, "Although that miracle doctor did not cure Xiaoxiong's illness, he reminded me of a way to keep his life using the body as medicine to suppress the toxins. For every cycle, I would need various spiritual grasses and decoct them into soup to feed him. Otherwise, he would be beyond curing if the toxin enters the body." If Wang Xian had not demonstrated the terrifying strength the previous day, Maniac G would not have bothered and wasted his time on a miracle doctor that ranked only 18th. He wouldn't have queued patiently and wasted his time explaining all this to him. As the energy of the azure dragon flowed into the young man's body, Wang Xian couldn't help but frown slightly. As he was still too weak, the energy of the azure dragon couldn't deal with the toxins in the body. These toxins are really vicious. The dosage of the toxins is horrifying too. As the energy from the azure dragon contacted the toxin, the energy was being neutralized at a terrifying speed. The toxin seemed to be alive and would attack the energy from the azure dragon frantically once they sensed it coming. This venom was released by a half-step to inborn expert just before he died. This venom that was released was sufficient to kill 10,000 people. As Maniac G spoke, he shook with wrath. There were signs of madness in his eyes. Wang Xian looked at Maniac G. With how it looked now, Maniac G was no doubt experiencing madness in his mind. If his son had died, Maniac G would likely fall into deprivation and become a real demon. "The situation is within control," Wang Xian said as he sent divine dragon energy into Xiaoxiong's body this time. SSS. Wang Xian could hear burning sounds from the body of Xiaoxiong. He realized the concentrated toxins and the divine dragon energy were neutralizing each other. Although dragon energy was considered to be among the highest tier energies, the amount was limited. On the other hand, the toxin had been inside Xiaoxiong's body for several years and was deeply rooted in his bones. Nonetheless, neutralizing the toxins in his body was still possible with the dragon energy. 100, 200, 300. The dragon energy was being exhausted quickly. The amount of toxins in Xiaoxiong's body far exceeded Wang Xian's expectations. However, the expense of the dragon energy was nothing compared to what there was to gain. This. As he looked at the black toxin diminishing from his son's body at a pace visible to the naked eye, Maniac G's eyes lit up with excitement. He crouched beside the bed, hugging his own head. Wang Xian looked at Maniac G and thought to himself, even a crazy person has a soft spot in his heart. Wang Xian utilized both of his arms and emitted dense dragon energy from his body. At the same time, He was emitting the demeanor of a supreme emperor. Maniac Ji was in awe. Horror flashed in his eyes as he lifted his head and looked at Wang Xian. This aura. It's too strong. Puff. All right, the toxins in your son's body have been removed. Wang Xian exhaled as he spoke. He had used up more than 2,000 points of dragon energy to cure Maniac Ji's son. This was a huge price to pay. Just as they spoke, Xiao Xiong started to murmur. With the help of the vast quantity of spiritual medicine in his body was recovering at a rapid pace after the toxins had been purged. In the future, if he started to cultivate, he could easily reach martial artist level 8 or 9. Ji Xiong, my son, my dear son. Maniac Ji exclaimed in excitement. Wang Xian looked back at him while walking down the stairs. He wanted to give the father and son some personal time. As Wang Xian returned to the first story, the other 3 patients had left. He poured himself a new cup of tea and started drinking in his chair. The fragrance of the tea was what he liked. Bang bang bang. About 10 minutes later, footsteps were heard from above. Ji Xiong, wait for me outside the medical hall. I will join you shortly. A fatherly love could be felt from Maniac Ji as he spoke. He was no longer in the state of madness. Yes, father, Ji Xiong nodded as he walked out. Maniac Ji walked to Wang Xian and bowed deeply. Thank you, Miracle Dr. Wang. I will fulfill all your requests so long as you don't send me to die. I would still like to accompany my son for some time, he promised. As Wang Xian rose from his seat, he smiled at Maniac Ji and said, I need an astronomical amount of spiritual stones. I need a way for me to obtain them. Chapter 181, Ways of Obtaining the Spiritual Stones. I only have 50 pieces of spiritual stones. When Maniac Ji heard Wang Xian's conditions, he frowned as he did not have that many spiritual stones. Tell me, where did you get yours from? Asked Wang Xian to Maniac Ji directly. Underworld's missions. Spiritual stones are very precious items for cultivation use. They are the hard currency in the underworld. Hence, some of the top-notch sects and families use them to trade, Maniac Ji explained to Wang Xian. Missions. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows with doubts. Everyone in the world earns money to survive. It's the same for the underworld. There were many ways to do that, and it makes no difference, just like the modern world. But the underworld is more practical. You can log on to a website, and they have all kinds of missions. You can also set your own missions. All the sects and clans are gathered on the website. Maniac Ji looked at the computer next to him, and Wang Xian agreed. Maniac Ji got on the computer and logged in to a special website. When he entered, the screen showed a message. With various sects and clans in the underworld, our heroes emerge. On the homepage was all the various ranking charts. Underworld's outstanding experts, doctors, spiritual medicines, art of cultivation, young heroes, assassins, and more. The charts piqued the curiosity of Wang Xian. The happenings in the underworld were much to his surprise. He clicked the medical ranking with some interest and scrolled to the 18th position. A name was on it with some comments. Miracle Doctors chart number 18, Wang Xian. Age 20. Defeated Fang Huazi on September 17, this year. He crippled his arm and gained his fame overnight after this match. Replaced Fang Huazi's ranking, but his competence in medical skills remained unknown. He has a divine dragon medical hall at the Old Street, Rivertown. Hehe, this evaluation is quite to the point. Wang Xian read the website with a face full of smiles. The founder of this website is Tianxiao Sacred Sect. No one can beat them in terms of information. There is a space dedicated to all kinds of missions with about 400 to 500 missions daily. Some of them are easy, some of them are difficult. Each mission has different rewards. You can also publish your mission and trade your items on the platform. Maniac Ji introduced the website to Wang Xian formally. Then he hesitated. Since you want the spiritual stones, I can collect them for you. I'll give you 100 annually for 15 years. What do you think? Apart from that, you can command me whenever you need help. For the next 15 years, I'll obey your instructions. With 100 spiritual stones annually, that would make 1,500 pieces for 15 years. If these stones were converted into cash, it would be more than $100 billion. On top of that, the inborn expert service for 15 years was added to the price paid. You can collect as many spiritual stones as possible. If I have other needs, I'll find you again. Wang Xian waved his hand as he spoke to Maniac G. Yes. Maniac G hesitated before he nodded. Miracle Dr. Wang, I have some spiritual medicine with me. I'll get someone to send it over to you tomorrow. Sure. I'll give you an address later. You can deliver them to that place. Wang Xian nodded. I'll take my leave now. Maniac G bowed and left. Be it because of the power that Wang Xian displayed or the ability to cure his son, Wang Xian was someone who deserved Maniac G's respect. I didn't know there was such a website. How interesting. Wang Xian drew a smile on his face as he clicked on the outstanding experts of the underworld. The number 1 on the chart was Nai Wuhan, sect leader of Donghua Sacred Sect. Number 2 was Hai Jiao, an island owner. There were only 20 names on the outstanding experts chart. Most of them were aces from the sacred sects. There were 8 sacred sects in the underworld which stood tall within the country. Wang Xian read them with interest. Subsequently, he clicked on the missions page. There were all kinds of missions including assassinations, looking for bodyguards and seeking spiritual medicine. Moreover, Wang Xian discovered that many missions were related to foreign disputes such as competing against and even killing experts from other countries. There were some group missions for competing for some treasures. Unbelievable. It's amazing. Wang Xian browsed the individual tasks to think of how he could earn those spiritual stones. Currently, 2 ways could earn spiritual stones within the shortest possible time. One was to save people. Another way was to sell spiritual medicine in exchange for spiritual stones. Both methods were the fastest ways. Wang Xian preferred the second method. He just needed to spend over 10 hours to make some spiritual medicine to exchange for 400 to 500 pieces of spiritual stone. It should not be that difficult to get more than 10,000 pieces of them. Xiao Xian. Just then, Guan Shuqing's surprising voice was heard from the outside. Wang Xian turned around with a smile on his face. Guan Shuqing, in a white skirt, had obviously made an effort to doll herself up. Her skirt, at knee length, was similar to a student's skirt, revealing a pair of fair and beautiful legs. She wore a shirt on top with her curvy bust lifted by her garment. Such an attractive beauty. What are you looking at? When Guan Shuqing saw Wang Xian's look, she rolled her eyes. But her face had nothing but smiles. Hee hee. Wang Xian giggled. I haven't seen you for a long time, so I missed you. Since I missed you, I just want to look at you. What a glib tongue. Guan Shuqing pouted her lips slightly as she walked to his side. Wang Xian shut his computer and stood up immediately. He walked to her and said, "Let's go. I'll bring you to the new house that I bought." "Great, let's go. I want to check out the house." Guan Shuqing smiled and nodded. "We need to go back to school to pick up my bike first. I drove today. My dad just bought me a car the other day." "Great. Come to think of it, I'm not a good boyfriend. I haven't given you any presents before." "Mitch, now you know. Should we go to the city center first to buy you some presents?" "Another day. I want to go to your house and see if you're keeping a mistress." "Haha, how can it be?" Wang Xian and Guan Shuqing laughed as they came to the car park. Guan Shuqing's dad had bought her a Maserati, which was costly too. "Wow, it's so beautiful over here. A house with a sea view." Guan Shuqing walked into the villa and looked around in amazement. Wang Xian drew a smile on his face. "Let's go. I'll take you to the roof. It's more interesting upstairs." Wang Xian brought Guan Shuqing to the roof with enthusiasm. "It's so beautiful here." Standing on the roof of the villa, Guan Shuqing looked out to the sea and exclaimed with happiness. "Hee, it's your home from now on. How is it? Do you like it?" Guan Shuqing blushed slightly and did not answer. She kept observing the surroundings with joy. She ran happily on the roof, and her skirt was lifted slightly. Pink. Chapter 182, My Broadsword Is. Wang Xian expressed that his big D was thirsty. While admiring the beauty of Guan Shuqing, he had an idea in mind, and thoughts started flowing. Shuqing, let's go and swim in the sea. The weather today is the best and most comfortable for it, Wang Xian said with a smile to Guan Shuqing. Sure, Guan Shuqing replied happily. However, her expression soon changed to helplessness as she continued, I forgot to bring my swimsuit. I have some here. I asked Xiao Yu to buy for you when she was buying one. Come over, Wang Xian replied with a righteous smile. He then brought Guan Shuqing to the changing room. The swimsuits were definitely not bought by Xiao Yu. As an upright man, the swimsuits Wang Xian gave Guan Shuqing were all bikinis. Hee. This, Guan Shuqing was shocked as she replied, and her face quickly turned red from embarrassment. What happened? Wang Xian asked innocently. The swimsuit is too revealing. Why is it all? Guan Shuqing blushed as she asked while pointing to the wardrobe. Oh, that's true. This sister of mine. Why did she get swimsuits like these? What if others see my gorgeous Shuqing in these? That will be bad. However, don't worry about that. There aren't any outsiders here. How about you just wear it now? Wang Xian explained while pushing the blame to his younger sister righteously. There was a flicker in Guan Shuqing's eyes and the blush spread to her neck. She nodded her head slightly and replied, all right. She shivered as she took a swimsuit. After which, she said to Wang Xian, go out first. Fine, I will go out. Wang Xian nodded and smiled. He then walked out. Wait. However, at this moment, Guan Shuqing called out to him. Wang Xian was stunned for a moment and curiously turned his head around. He saw Guan Shuqing blushing as her eyes started to flicker. She pouted, stared at Wang Xian and asked, will your younger sister get this type of swimsuit? Wang Xian looked at the swimsuit Guan Shuqing was holding. The swimsuit was skimpy and even had a hole at the bottom. He recalled the recommendation the boss gave when he was buying. Wang Xian's expression changed drastically as he shouted, Xiao Yu, I asked you to buy a swimsuit. Look at what you've bought. What is this? He walked out as he pretended to be angry. On the way, he closed the door. Bam! TSK. Guan Shuqing snorted after she saw through Wang Xian's act. She then gave a supercilious look as she changed for another swimsuit. Big brother, what are you talking about? Didn't you choose the swimsuits yesterday? Xiao Yu asked. What? What are you saying, Xiao Yu? Why aren't you training? Wang Xian retorted. At this moment, Guan Shuqing overheard the conversation vaguely. PFT. Guan Shuqing could not hold back her laughter further. She then looked for a swimsuit that looked comparably normal. Wow, you're so gorgeous, Wang Xian exclaimed. He was lying below the sunshade umbrella. When he saw her walking over, he went up to her to welcome her. TSK. Guan Shuqing rolled her eyes. She wore a black swimsuit, and because the swimsuits Wang Xian bought were only able to cover the important parts, it was exceptionally appealing to the eyes. Wang Xian's eyes lit up as he walked over, pretending that the previous events had not happened. He said, let's go and swim in the sea. We can slide down from the slides from the third story. It's really interesting. Come, let me help you. Okay. Today's weather looks great. Guan Shuqing looked up at the sun happily and replied. Yes, the weather is great today. The seawater is very clear too. Let me help you. Wang Xian replied as he walked over, rubbing his hand. He then extended his arms around Guan Shuqing. While enjoying the skinship with Guan Shuqing, Wang Xian was really satisfied with his choice of swimsuit. This is great. You. Guan Shuqing blushed suddenly as she said, you. Can you just use your hands to help me? You don't have to hold me by the bottom too. Wang Xian was stunned. He looked down immediately and saw his little brother sticking out to help Guan Shuqing. Embarrassment was soon written all over his face. I'm in the prime of my youth. He replied while forcing a laugh. After which, Guan Shuqing kept a distance from Wang Xian. She looked at the slide and sat on it enthusiastically. Wang Xian followed behind her. While swimming in the seas, the only shame Wang Xian felt was that Guan Shuqing knew how to swim. Otherwise, it would have been perfect. After playing in the sea until 5 p.m., Wang Xian felt hot all over his body. You can just stay over for the night. At dinner, Wang Xian regained his serious looks and continued, we have a lot of rooms here. Why don't you just stay behind for the night? Guan Shuqing hesitated. There is a family theater in this villa. Let's watch some movies tonight, Wang Xian replied as he saw Guan Shuqing hesitating. Time to strike the metal while it's hot, he thought. Yes, it's possible, but... Guan Shuqing looked at Wang Xian and hesitated. In the end, she did not say what she was thinking of. Hee. Wang Xian made a big grin. Xiao Yu was eating her food at the side while looking at her own brother. She felt that her elder brother had changed and had become a pervert. After dinner, Wang Xian left Guan Shuqing in the living room to rest while also asking Xiao Yu to chat with her. He immediately rushed to the family theater and made a call. Dahai. Hurry up. Send me the seed. Wang Dahai, who had just picked up the call, was bewildered. He was having dinner with his family and questioned, what seeds are you talking about? Can you be clearer? Japan's seeds. Wang Xian exclaimed. His broadsword was already thirsty beyond words. He must succeed tonight. Suddenly, Dahai noticed silence over the dining table. He lifted his head gradually and saw his parents. What nonsense are you spouting? I already have a girlfriend. I have already confessed to Su Qian and she agreed to it. Wang Dahai walked towards his room as he replied to Wang Xian. What a good brother you have been, Wang Xian praised. Wang Xian saw the few seeds that Wang Dahai sent over. He gave a vile smile on his face as he started to meddle with the player. The family theater was connected to the internet. There were a few comfy sofas at the center of the room and they could fit a family. Wang Xian slotted the files from Wang Dahai behind Detective Chinatown and selected the autoplay function. Here. Wang Xian laughed vilely and revealed a satisfied look. He returned to the living room and talked briefly to Guan Shuqing and Xiao Yu. At around 8 o'clock, Elder Fang pulled Xiao Yu away for training. Let's go Shuqing. Let's go and watch a movie, Wang Xian said to Guan Shuqing with a smile. All right. Oh. Which room will I be staying in tonight? Guan Shuqing asked. Just a room on the 3rd story will do. We have plenty of rooms here. Wang Xian replied with a smile. Let's go. Guan Shuqing nodded with a smile as she replied. We should sleep after the movie. Shall we go shopping tomorrow? Sure. No problem. I will get some gifts for you tomorrow. This is also my duty as your boyfriend. Wang Xian replied. You promised. Guan Shuqing exclaimed. Naturally. Wang Xian smiled as he brought Guan Shuqing to the family theater on the 3rd story. Let's watch Detective Chinatown. Have you watched it before? Wang Xian asked. Not yet. Let's watch this movie. The reviews for it are great. Guan Shuqing replied. Wang Xian nodded his head and the two of them sat on the sofa. He held Guan Shuqing in his embrace lightly throughout the movie. Guan Shuqing did not push him away and she leaned on Wang Xian. It was warm and romantic. The movie started soon after and it was a good comedy show. Guan Shuqing was amused by it. As the movie was ending, Guan Shuqing commented joyously, "This movie is so funny, what a great movie." Yes. It was a great movie. Wang Xian replied while squinting his eyes at Guan Shuqing as the movie ended. It's already 10 p.m. Time for bed. Guan Shuqing said shyly when she noticed Wang Xian staring at her. Let me hug you for a while longer. Just a while more. Wang Xian replied softly. All right. Guan Shuqing nodded and replied. She loved the current atmosphere. Sexy female dealer deals the card online, too. At this moment, a familiar piece of music sounded. On the screen, a shocking movie started playing. Chapter 183, Nirvana. The cards were dealt. Totally. Wang Xian was extremely exhilarated. Guan Shuqing did resist in the beginning, but she gave up. She allowed him into her room. Wang Xian was thrilled as he hugged Guan Shuqing fast and furious as soon as he came to her room. The door was opened and closed in one go. Subsequently, It was the most exciting moment for Wang Xian. Even though it was his first time doing this, he had seen a few clips under the influence of Wang Dahai. At the very least, he was not a total noob. After the shrill cries, it was the alluring moan. At 11 p.m., the moon was high in the sky, and the waves washed up onto the shores. It was a beautiful night. Be it outside or inside the villa, it was full of seductive glows and sounds. However, at this time, 2 black figures were dashing towards the villas. This is the place. The one whom young master wants to kill is inside. There are only 3 women and Wang Xian in the house. This lad has some luck with women. Mph, how dare a miracle doctor who is ranked 18 provoke our young master Liu? Go to hell. As the 2 black figures spoke, they moved in swift actions. With a leap, they entered the villa immediately. Kill them all. A black figure looked into the villa and spoke in a murderous tone. Go. The 2 black figures charged into the villa at a daunting speed. Ring. Suddenly, the bells beside Elder Fang rang without any warning when she was resting in her room. Someone broke in. She immediately opened her eyes and dressed up. With a skip and an arm swing, she picked up her sword and walked out of her room. She cast a glance at the door that was tightly closed at the side where Xiao Yu was resting. With some hesitation, she leapt to the 3rd floor. I should remind Xiao Yu's brother. But when she jumped into the room, she heard the seductive voices within the room. Along with that, it was conversations like, "No, stop it, I'm dying, and let's change to another position." Elder Fang stared with her eyes wide open. Subsequently, her face turned red instantly. Ring. At this time, the bells in her hands rang again. She could not stay here any longer. With a leap, she jumped down and walked to the entrance of the villa. Who is it? How dare you barge in like this? Elder Fang drew her long sword with a slightly blushed face as she spoke coldly to the 2 black figures in front of her. Ha! I did not expect to see a martial artist here. The 2 black figures narrowed their eyes and launched their rapid and fierce attack. Seeking your own death. Elder Fang had a slight change in her expression. She wielded her long sword and darted out at the 2 figures. Level 8 martial artists. Both black figures were shocked. They exchanged eye contact and wielded the daggers in their hands for another attack. The 2 black figures were level 8 martial artists too. Xiao Yu, who was deep in her sleep, did not know her master was battling with someone outside. All the more, Wang Xian was ignorant about it. He was also battling at that moment. If he was not battling, he could have easily detected the happenings outside. Elder Fang and the 2 black figures fought for 20 minutes. Eventually, they left the place quickly with bewilderment. The woman possessed a combat skill that was way beyond their expectations. Wu. Who are they? All their strokes were ruthless, and they were out to kill. Elder Fang knit her eyebrows slightly as she looked to the distance. The 2 black figures had long since disappeared in the dark. She pondered for a moment and went back to the villa. In a move, she jumped directly to the 2nd floor. Standing outside, she could still hear some voices from upstairs. Elder Fang blushed once again. She took a deep breath and went back to her room. 3rd floor, within Wang Xian's room. An hour passed. 2 hours passed. 3 hours passed. Guan Shuqing felt numbness in her entire body as she was almost blacked out. I can't go on, Xiaoxian. I really can't. Guan Shuqing was almost tearing up as she pleaded. Wang Xian was slightly stunned. I haven't. Xiaoxian, I really can't go on. My lips are swollen. Guan Shuqing shook her head with slight terror. He was too strong, and he lasted for too long. Simply formidable. Wang Xian gave a bitter look on his face. He was not expecting himself to be so formidable. After almost 4 hours, he was still energetic. Could it be because of his dragon nature? He frowned slightly. With a bitter face, he said, Okay, Shuqing. It was my fault today. As Wang Xian looked at the pale-looking Guan Shuqing, his heart ached as he consoled her. No, it was my fault. I didn't. As Guan Shuqing spoke, her voice got softer and softer. Eventually, she fell asleep. Well, it's not good to be too strong either. Wang Xian sighed as he pulled the quilt at the side over Guan Shuqing. Bam! What he did not notice was, something from the table dropped onto the bed as he pulled the quilt. It was a piece of blood-red stone, and the stone landed around Guan Shuqing's thighs. There was a trace of blood on the bedsheet. When that piece of blood-red stone fell on it, it slowly emitted a red glow. I shall take a shower. Wang Xian stood up and walked to the bathroom. When the bathroom door was closed, the red stone gave off an immense amount of glow which encompassed Guan Shuqing slowly. A virtual image of Suzaku flashed and disappeared shortly. The Suzaku's blood essence was gone too. Guan Shuqing, who was lying on the bed, did not know that she was undergoing her nirvana. The next morning, Wang Xian looked at Guan Shuqing, who was still sleeping. He used his azure dragon energy to heal some of her wounds. Subsequently, he came downstairs quietly. "Brother, where is my sister-in-law? Get her to have breakfast with us," said Xiao Yu when she saw Wang Xian walking down. "She's still sleeping. We can have it first." Wang Xian giggled and sat down to have his breakfast. "Oh, are you going out today?" Xiao Yu continued to ask. "I don't think so. We should be taking a rest." Wang Xian shook his head when he thought of Guan Shuqing. Elder Fang, next to him, looked at Wang Xian discreetly as she ate her breakfast quietly. After breakfast, Elder Fang suddenly instructed Xiao Yu, "Xiao Yu, go upstairs now. I have something to talk to your brother about." "Ha!" Xiao Yu hesitated and was confused for a while before she nodded and headed upstairs. Wang Xian looked at Elder Fang with questions. Yesterday, someone snuck into the villa. They were 2 level 8 martial artists with strong murderous intention. Elder Fang told Wang Xian sternly, "I'm afraid there will be stronger ones next time, and I won't be able to stop them." After hearing what Elder Fang said, Wang Xian was stunned. With a frown, he asked, "Are they after me?" Elder Fang nodded her head slowly. "I think so." Wang Xian's eyes turned cold. "Leave this to me. I hope they'll return again." Elder Fang was slightly stupefied as she fixed her gaze on Wang Xian without uttering any words. Chapter 184, The Conversation Between Guan Shuqing and Lan Qingyu. In one of the rooms on the 3rd floor of the villa, Guan Shuqing's eyelashes twitched a little. She reached around her and frowned. Her body was trembling when she recalled the craziness of last night. She started blushing as she lay on the bed, feeling weakness throughout her body. That was too tiring. She felt that she would need 2 to 3 days of rest to recuperate. Buzz. Buzz. A mobile phone vibrated beside her just as she started imagining things. She stumped for a while before reaching for the mobile phone. It was Wang Xian's phone. When she saw the message, she was taken aback. The message was from Lan Qingyu. There wasn't much in the message and just a sentence, "Thank you for your help at the auction the other day. If you have any jewelry in the future, could you sell it to our deep-sea jewelry?" Guan Shuqing frowned slightly. She did not reply but instead quietly placed the mobile phone back. A few moments later, Wang Xian walked into the room and saw that Guan Shuqing had woken up. He immediately said, "Shuqing, you are awake. Are you hungry? I have made some chicken soup for you." "Hee. Let me get it for you." "Sure." Guan Shuqing looked at her man and her eyes were filled with tenderness. Soon, Wang Xian walked into the room again with a bowl of chicken soup in his hands. "Come have some. It helps in your recovery." "Thank you, Xiao Xian," Guan Shuqing replied. She drank a mouthful before leaning against Wang Xian's legs. "Let me feed you." Wang Xian's expressions were full of tenderness too as he fed her slowly. "All right, I am full now. Let me rest a little more." "It's all your fault from yesterday," Guan Shuqing said. Guan Shuqing lay down as she rolled her eyes at Wang Xian. "Together. Let's lie down together." Wang Xian tried to snuggle into the bed ecstatically after hearing what Guan Shuqing said. "You. Stay away," Guan Shuqing exclaimed. She was scared of him. Wang Xian was slightly disappointed with Guan Shuqing's reactions. "Haven't your injuries recovered yet?" Guan Shuqing nearly cried out after hearing him. Her external injuries had recovered, but she had not recovered from exhaustion. "No. Get out. You are not allowed on the bed. Get out," Guan Shuqing remarked. Wang Xian was speechless and walked out feeling disappointed. How should I deal with this? Guan Shuqing started pondering as she looked at the back view of the leaving Wang Xian. I cannot satisfy Wang Xian. If this continues on, he will. Guan Shuqing was lost. She lay on the bed and fell into a daze. After pondering for some time, Guan Shuqing made up her mind. She picked up Wang Xian's mobile phone. On second thought, she decided to use her own phone and look for Lan Qingyue's on WeChat instead. Are you there? She typed. Guan Shuqing bit her lips as she looked at her mobile phone. Yes. Is there anything? Lan Qingyu replied. In the deep-sea building in the city center of Rivertown, Lan Qingyu was busily handling the paperwork. She looked drained. She was surprised when she saw Guan Shuqing's message and frowned. Do you like Xiao Xian? Guan Shuqing asked after pondering for a while. Is there any purpose to your question at this juncture? Lan Qingyu replied calmly while taking a deep breath. I believe Xiao Xian is in love with you too, Guan Shuqing continued. And then? Lan Qingyu smiled bitterly after looking at this message. She supported her forehead with her hand. What if I'm agreeable to letting you stay beside Xiao Xian? Are you willing? Guan Shuqing replied immediately. Lan Qingyu was stunned when she saw the message. She bit her lips and replied, I'm already out of the picture. Besides that, aren't you there for Xiao Xian already? Are you willing if the three of us stay together? The truth is that I also don't want to share him with you. However, I'm out of other options. Guan Shuqing sent out this message bitterly. She didn't want to share her husband with anyone else. However, when she thought of the craziness of Wang Xian from the previous night, she was aghast. Furthermore, as one who was born in a well-to-do family, she knew clearly. Even her own father was having an affair outside. There were few men who were rich but loyal. Moreover, Wang Xian was too outstanding. Even if Wang Xian didn't think about it, there would be lots of women trying to approach him. She should be active instead of passive. Although Lan Qingyu was once her competitor, she admired Lan Qingyu. In the office, when Lan Qingyu saw Guan Shuqing's message, she was shocked and stared at it blankly. All I want now is to stay beside him, Lan Qingyu murmured. She looked down and continued, however, everything is too late now. She wiped her tears and replied, I am getting engaged soon. What? Guan Shuqing sprang up upon seeing the message. She hurriedly continued, You are getting engaged? Do you mean it? Yes, it's true. Xiao Xian and you will have my blessing. I'm really envious of you. Goodbye. Guan Shuqing was shocked by the last message from Lan Qingyu. She doubted, how could Lan Qingyu be engaged? How can this be possible? Her expression changed and she hesitated. She then looked at the clothes that were ripped into pieces. Xiao Xian, Xiao Xian. Guan Shuqing shouted weakly. Huh! Wang Xian, who was surfing the underworld website, immediately rushed over. What's the matter, Shuqing? What happened? Wang Xian walked over and asked caringly. Do you know that Lan Qingyu is getting engaged? Guan Shuqing asked Wang Xian. What? Wang Xian was shocked by what he heard and his expression changed drastically. Guan Shuqing saw the changes in his expression and asked, Xiao Xian, do you like Lan Qingyu too? Wang Xian smiled bitterly while looking at Guan Shuqing. He replied, I do feel a little sorry towards her. Fine, fine. You don't have to explain it to me. Guan Shuqing rolled her eyes before continuing, I wanted to ask her if she would like to be with you too initially. However, I had not expected her to be getting engaged. This isn't right. Based on my understanding of Lan Qingyu, she wouldn't abandon herself to despair just because Xiao Xian hasn't chosen her. Why would she suddenly be getting engaged? Furthermore, from my conversation with her a while ago, she must still be in love with you. However, she seemed to have something she couldn't tell me. Guan Shuqing analyzed seriously. A woman understood another woman best. Furthermore, the sixth sense of woman was usually very strong. Wang Xian was startled after hearing Guan Shuqing, and he opened her mouth briefly. What? What does she mean? Okay, Xiao Xian, I am tired and I want to rest. If you can convince Lan Qingyu, I won't object. Guan Shuqing lay on the bed, closing her eyes as she spoke. Wang Xian's expression changed again. He looked at Guan Shuqing, walked over and gave her a kiss. He took back his phone and left the room with questions. After looking at Wang Xian closing the door lightly, Guan Shuqing opened her eyes. PFF, you are a teddy, a big teddy. After walking out of the room, Wang Xian started to frown. He recalled the day when he met Lan Qingyu at the auction house and the conversation of those around. Chapter 185, Lan Family. Mo Qinglong, check on the recent events that happened to Lan Family, and check on the tyrannical sword, Liu Family, too. Back on the roof at the villa, Wang Xian commanded Mo Qinglong over the phone. Yes, Dragon King. What strength do we have now in the Dragon Sect? Wang Xian continued to ask Mo Qinglong. Dragon King, we have 50 Dragonians at level 8 while Mo Yuan is already a half step to inborn. Mo Qinglong answered. Okay, I got it. Have you brought the 9 venomous sea snakes back to the sea? Yes, they are safe in the sea now. Great. After Wang Xian hung up the phone, he looked at the message sent by Lan Qingyu. He immediately asked, are you a willing party in this marriage? Sometimes, you can't get what you want, and you can't refuse to do something when you don't want to. About 5 minutes later, Lan Qingyu gave a double-edged reply. I'll get the things I want, and no one can force me to do something that I don't want to do. I'll have control of my own fate. Wang Xian stared at the sea in the distance, drawing the corner of his lips. At the same time, 2 middle-aged men were standing beside Liu Feiyun with respect in a manner at Hailing Province. Useless things. You've got 2 people, and you can't even kill a level 8 martial artist, Liu Feiyun screamed impatiently at the 2 middle-aged men beside him. Young master, her swordsmanship is formidable, and she was at the peak of level 8. We were afraid we might draw attention if we got into a tangle with her for too long, both middle-aged men explained with an awful look. Oh, formidable swordsmanship. Liu Feiyun drew his lips slightly. Last night, I finally deciphered the art of Sword Celestial from the authentic calligraphy of Li Bai and obtained Sword Celestial's inheritance. Soon, I'll become a level 8 martial artist. I would like to meet and spar with the lady you said to be strong in her swordsmanship. However, I'm too busy lately, and I don't have the time to play with them. Young master, you obtained Sword Celestial's inheritance. I'm sure you'll make it to the Outstanding Young Heroes chart one day and overlook the rest of the heroes. The 2 of them quickly flattered him as they were shocked. Haha, of course. Outstanding Young Heroes. My tyrannical sword and I will ascend to the top. Liu Feiyun laughed. Congratulations, young master. Both of them quickly licked his boots again. Temph, he's just a miracle doctor ranked 18. Both of you will make a trip with Butler Zhao and Liu San the night after tomorrow. You must kill them for me. Otherwise, don't come back, said Liu Feiyun coldly. Yes, young master. We'll deliver his head to you, the 2 middle-aged quickly answered. Liu Feiyun waved his hand and smirked. Wang Xian, Miracle Dr. Wang, and you, Lan Qingyu. If it were not for your billions worth of assets, do you think the Liu family would go all the way to help you out? You are just a plaything to me. Since a plaything is not obedient, I'll make sure you listen to me. Liu Feiyun displayed a haughty look. With the inheritance of Sword Celestial, he would become one of the most formidable Sword Celestials in the world soon. 2 days passed. These 2 days, Guan Shuqing had been resting while Wang Xian was waiting quietly in the villa. The school would open tomorrow, and Wang Xian took a month's leave. Dragon King, the information you wanted is here. In the afternoon, 2 figures jumped up to the roof like ghosts when they reported to Wang Xian under the beach umbrella. Wang Xian reached and took the information. It was about tyrannical sword Liu family and Lan family. 1 inborn expert, 4 half-step to inborn experts and 13 level 9 martial artists. No wonder they are the first-class force. Wang Xian squinted his eyes as he read Liu family's information. The entire document had detailed records of the strength in the tyrannical sword Liu family. The only one that could evenly match with them in the entire Hailing Province was Ancient Fist Sect. In Hailing Province, no one dared to offend Liu family. When Wang Xian picked up the information about Lan family, an invitation card was caught in between the papers. Wang Xian opened it up. It was an invitation for an engagement party sent by Lan family to other wealthy families. His eyes turned cold as he continued to read. Deep Sea Jewelry and Lan family had taken a hammering under the Ju Jewelry and Lingyu sect just recently. First, they took a loss in a billion-dollar investment project in Dongqing province. Next, they were targeted by the Ju Jewelry. This caused a huge blow to the Lan family. In desperation, Lan family had to join hands with Liu family to stand up against the Ju Jewelry and Lingyu sect's hammering. However, Liu family requested Lan Qingyu to marry to their family. Tomorrow. Wang Xian stood up slowly. Liu family will not be a concern anymore. You may leave. Wang Xian gestured for them to leave and pondered quietly. Night fell when Xiao Yu, Guan Shuqing, and Elder Fang were watching soap operas downstairs. Wang Xian was thinking of his plan for tomorrow. Should he inform Lan Qingyu in advance? Should he ask for Lan Qingyu's advice? At about 10 p.m., Xiao Yu and the rest went back to their rooms to sleep. Guan Shuqing did not allow Wang Xian to enter her room. Without any choice, he went to the next room. Around 11 p.m., Elder Fang woke up in her room as she looked at the bells ringing non-stop at the bedside. With a swift movement, she opened her door. Elder Fang, let's do it together. Just then, a voice came from upstairs. She lifted her chin and saw Wang Xian looking over with a smile. Elder Fang paused before she nodded. Wang Xian made a quiet jump into the living room. Indeed, Miracle Dr. Wang is not that simple. Looking at the way he moved, Elder Fang thought to herself. She had always believed that the mysterious Miracle Dr. Wang was not someone simple. Last time, they sent 2 level 8 martial artists over here. This time, they will definitely send more formidable people over. Elder Fang reminded Wang Xian. Don't worry. I've got everything prepared. Wang Xian chuckled and looked outside. Voila. The door was opened and the 4 black middle-aged men walked into the villa. I have been waiting for you guys for many days. Finally, you guys came. Wang Xian gazed at the 4 people in front of him with smiles on his face. Ha! The 4 black figures hesitated as they swept their watchful gazes around. Just the 2 of them, a middle-aged man narrowed his eyes and said coldly, "Kill them, and behead the man." The middle-aged man in the middle spoke in a cold and harsh tone. What's the hurry? I still want to ask who sent you guys over. Wang Xian wore a smiley face as if everything seemed like a breeze to him. Kill. However, the quartet did not hesitate at all. With swift movements, they launched an attack at them. You are really asking for it. Wang Xian looked at the 4 black figures with an icy look. Chapter 186, Dragon King's Order. You guys are courting your death. Just as Elder Fang was preparing to pull out her long sword to attack, a voice pierced through the silence. The 4 black figures wavered and looked at their surroundings attentively. How dare you barge into the forbidden grounds of the Dragon King? How audacious. The voice sounded again and a shadow appeared in front of the 4 black figures, staring at them coldly. You. The 4 black figures were shocked by the sudden appearance of an old man and instinctively staggered back several steps. You, who are you? Oh no, we are ambushed. The 4 black figures stared at the old man who appeared suddenly, feeling aghast. Elder Fang also perked up and stared at the old man in front of her attentively. To her astonishment, she didn't manage to see how this old man had appeared. Cough cough. The Dragon King is asking you guys a question. If you aren't answering, I'll just have to make you talk. Mo Qinglong stretched his arms out slowly. The 4 black figures looked at Mo Qinglong with heavy expressions. As Mo Qinglong stretched his arms up, a devilish force swept towards them. Shit. He isn't someone we can stand up against. Run. Hurry, run. The 4 black figures were petrified. At the instant the old man raised his arms, they felt the fear of death creeping upon them. Can you escape? Mo Qinglong commented mockingly as waves of dark energy entered the body of the black figures. The 4 froze and horrified expressions were seen on their faces. To everyone's astonishment, the old man was able to control their bodies just by raising his arms. Following which, their eyes were shrouded by darkness and their bodies stiffened. This is the devil path. An inborn expert. Elder Fang was horrified to see Mo Qinglong controlling the 4 men through such a terrifying method. Devil path. Moreover, he was a powerful expert at the inborn realm. An inborn expert who practices the devil path takes orders from Wang Xian? Could it be that he also practices the devil path? Elder Fang thought. Speak. Who sent you guys here? Wang Xian asked the 4 men coldly. It's our young master, the 4 black figures replied together. Who is your young master? Wang Xian continued asking. Young master Liu Feiyun. He wanted us to come and claim your head and kill off everyone in the villa. He wanted this as his present for his engagement ceremony the next day, they replied. Liu Feiyun. Fine. Wang Xian squinted his eyes as murderous intent flashed past his eyes. He didn't expect these men to be sent by Liu Feiyun. Furthermore, he ordered these men to decapitate him. Since that's the case, I will send you a congratulatory gift tomorrow. Kill them, he said coldly to Mo Qinglong. Yes, Dragon King. Mo Qinglong waved his arms and the 4 collapsed on the ground. Elder Fang's heart skipped a beat as she saw the developments. She looked at Wang Xian with her eyes flickering. Get everyone in Rivertown to go to the Lan family's villa tomorrow. Yes, Dragon King. Mo Qinglong nodded respectfully. Shifting his stance, he disappeared from sight. Dragon King? Elder Fang thought to herself. Elder Fang heard how the terrifying inborn expert addressed Wang Xian. She had a lot of questions in mind but didn't act rashly. You are going to the Lan family tomorrow? Tomorrow is the day the Lan family and the Liu family hold their engagement ceremony, Elder Fang reminded Wang Xian. I know, Wang Xian replied. He continued calmly, Elder Fang, you should go get some rest. Elder Fang looked at Wang Xian once again. She hesitated but still went back into her room. She pondered for some time before taking out her mobile phone and calling sect leader Tang. Elder Fang, did something happen for you to call me at this time? The voice of sect leader Tang could be heard from the other end of the phone call. Sect leader, I have a very important thing for you, Elder Fang said solemnly. Just say it. Sect leader Tang got serious and answered. It's about Xiao Yu's elder brother, Miracle Dr. Wang. Elder Fang took a deep breath and continued, the Liu family from the tyrannical sword sent assassins to assassinate him tonight. However, a terrifying old man appeared and addressed Miracle Dr. Wang as the Dragon King. The old man uses devilish techniques and is definitely an inborn expert. With a wave of his hand, he murdered 2 level 9 martial artists and 2 level 8 martial artists. Furthermore, Miracle Dr. Wang is preparing to meet the Lan family tomorrow. My guess is that he will be confronting the Liu family. Liu family of the tyrannical sword. Inborn expert. Dragon King. Sect leader Tang's expression got worse as Elder Fang spoke. He replied, I knew Miracle Doctor wouldn't be simple since he can take out a level 4 spiritual medicine effortlessly. However, I hadn't expected an inborn expert to address him as Dragon King. The Liu family only has an inborn expert. Since Miracle Dr. Wang dares to go, he should have enough confidence. Sect leader Tang's eyes flickered as he continued, Miracle Dr. Wang and Xiao Yu. I will bring some men to the Lan family tomorrow. Elder Fang was stunned after hearing sect leader Tang. Nonetheless, she replied respectfully, yes, sect leader, Dragon King and an inborn expert. Sect leader Tang started to ponder. Tonight was fated to be an eventful night for the people of Rivertown. None dare to defy once the order of the Dragon King is issued, the Ren family head replied respectfully to the Dark Shadow. The Dark Shadow nodded, his body moved and disappeared from the luxurious villa. The order from the Dragon King had been issued. Rivertown will be chaotic once again, Ren family head said as he looked at the Dark Shadow disappearing. He could feel a faint pressure from the Dark Shadow. However, he knew that this was just an ordinary member of the Dragon sect. Tomorrow is the day the Lan family and the Liu family host their engagement ceremony. It seems like the Dragon King is targeting the Liu family. The Ren family head eyes flickered and he shouted to those outside, come in, family head. 2 people rushed in and addressed him respectfully. Gather all the elites of the Ren family. Follow me and obey the orders of the Dragon King tomorrow. Yes, family head. The two members were shocked and nodded their heads. Old Duan got dressed early in the morning and gave his orders to the elites of his family. Tomorrow, we shall obey the command of the Dragon King. Obey the command of the Dragon King. Obey the command of the Dragon King. Each and every ancient martial arts family from Rivertown answered in unison and would obey the command of the Dragon King. At the Qin family, old Qin dressed up and laughed heartily. Brother Wang Xian wants to blow this up. With the Dragon sect and everyone from Rivertown, there's no reason to be scared of the Liu family. Haha. Incredible. Incredible. Once the order of the Dragon King is issued, no one in Rivertown dares to disobey. The news spread to every elite and wealthy man in Rivertown. Old Qin from the Qin family had told them personally. The order of the Dragon King had been issued and they shall obey the order tomorrow. Although this group of people did not understand much about the Dragon King and some might not have heard of him, Old Qin and those wealthy men with connections with ancient martial arts families had all received the news. Tomorrow, they shall head to the Lan family and take orders from the Dragon King. At night, the whole of Rivertown shook just because of a person's order. The night passed by peacefully. However, turmoil had started to brew. So, the Dragon King has the Dragon sect backing him. Dragon King, I have come too. At the top floor of a building, a long-haired man stood there and spoke plainly. Chapter 187. I'm Wang Xian, 1. The next morning at Flowing Water Villa. Flowing Water Villa was a private club in Rivertown with a horse racing track, golf course and swimming pool. This was a high-end private club. Also, a high-end banquet venue. Lan family, second to Qin family in Rivertown, was indeed a billion-dollar group. Even though the stock price of Lan family had fallen sharply in the recent period, they still maintained their status. No ordinary companies or groups could easily shake Lan family's status. Besides, they had their foundation. It would be difficult for them to fall. Today was a rather important day for the entire Lan family. Lan family would be joining hands with the tyrannical sword of the Liu family from the Hailing province. To put it bluntly, Lan family was getting tyrannical sword Liu family as their backing. Tyrannical sword of the Liu family possessed formidable strength in Hailing province. Their family assets had reached hundreds of billions. But this was secondary. Liu family was strong in its mighty strength. In the entire Hailing province, it was scarce to have someone who dared to offend the tyrannical sword of the Liu family. Hence, the political marriage of Lan family's future heir, Lan Qingyu, and tyrannical sword of the Liu family, Little Sword Celestial, was a big deal for many people. Early in the morning, many luxury cars were parked outside the Flowing Water Villa. All elites were well dressed as they headed to the villa. Second Master Liu, hello. Second Master Liu, hello. A middle-aged man put on a smile as he stood at the entrance, greeting all the guests. Haha, thank you for traveling so far to attend Xiao Yun's engagement ceremony. Second Master Liu laughed as he greeted the guests politely. You're welcome. It's young Master Liu's engagement ceremony. We must be here for the celebration. It's our honor to be here. That's right. Since young Master Liu is of the Hailing province, the friends from Hailing province must join in the celebration, the middle-aged men and elderly men quickly replied. Haha, thank you, everyone. Second Master Liu cupped his fist and smiled. Many people drove their luxurious cars with presents from Hailing province. They were heading towards the Flowing Water Villa joyfully. Those wealthy families, martial artist families, and sects had to come and showed their support since it was a political marriage between Liu family and Lan family. Besides, it was the Little Sword Celestial who was getting engaged. That's Magnet Guo. He's in the top 5 tycoons in Hailing province. I didn't expect he would be here personally. They are from the Hushan sect of Hailing province, a second-class sect. That's Wu family of Hailing province, another second-class family. Gosh, so many people actually came to support Liu family. If this ceremony were to be held in Hailing province, I believe there would be more people. It was the right choice to have this political marriage. Liu family's strength in Hailing province was too formidable. A few people from the Lan family were in disbelief when they saw the stream of people who walked in. Liu family was simply too strong. Lan family found themselves a strong backing with the political marriage despite making some sacrifices themselves too. "Ah Xiao, have we sent out all our invitations?" a middle-aged man asked the woman next to him. "Yes, we did. We sent them to all well-known people, including the ancient martial artist families in Rivertown. It's just that I don't think the ancient martial artist families would turn up since we have no contact with them." The woman frowned. Lan family was considered to be widely known in Rivertown. They also invited many people since the future heir of the family was getting engaged. Even though they could not compare their lineup with Liu family, they should not lose out at the very least. "I wonder if Qin family will turn up." The middle-aged man hesitated as he frowned and spoke while observing the guests from Liu family. "I think someone will come, it's just that we're not sure about that person's status," the woman pondered and said. "Forget it. Let's not think about these things. We're still far from Liu family. Once we finish this engagement, we will not be afraid of the Zhu and Lingyu sect," the middle-aged man said as cold radiance flashed in his eyes. "The magnates from Rivertown are here. Let's receive them." The middle-aged man and woman were the parents of Lan Qingyu. He looked at those magnates from Rivertown and went up to greet them with smiles. "Director Lan, congratulations." One by one, the Rivertown magnates greeted him with smiling faces. However, their smiles seemed to be odd and peculiar. "Director Li, welcome. Thank you for attending my daughter's engagement ceremony." The middle-aged greeted him with smiles. "Hehe, you're welcome." Director Li gave an awkward smile. "Director Lan, congratulations." "Thank you, Director Lan, for inviting me. I must thank all of you for attending the ceremony. Please come in." Looking at the Rivertown magnates, Director Lan put on a smiling face and spoke fervently. The group of Rivertown magnates chuckled and walked inside. "Dragon King?" Two magnates who knew each other went inside. One of them spoke softly to a middle-aged man. The other middle-aged man nodded. "It was Dragon King's order. Old Duan called me personally, and said he will show up too. Hu family head asked me to come. Old Qin informed me to come over. All elites in the entire Rivertown came over under an order. I bet Lan family has yet to know about this. Who dares to tip them off?" The group of magnates went inside. "Old Qin is here personally." At this time, Lan family's people who were receiving the guests were thrilled when they saw Old Qin and other well-known magnates walking over. "I think they are taking account of Liu family. What a great influence for a first-class force. Old Qin actually turned up personally for our political marriage with the Liu family. Old Qin, it's our honor for you to come here personally. Thank you very much." The parents of Lan Qingyu quickly went up and spoke to him with smiling faces. "Hehe, I had to come this time." Old Qin greeted them politely with a double-edged comment. "It's my honor to have you attend a junior's engagement ceremony. Old Qin, this way." The middle-aged man and the lady welcomed him inside. "Carry on with what you're doing. We can go over by ourselves." Old Qin smiled and waved them off as he led a group of people inside. Just then, a middle-aged guy from Lan family exclaimed, "Hey, those are the ancient martial art families, Ren family, Shui family, Duan family, and Hu family. Gosh, the influence of the Liu family is too overwhelming. All the ancient martial artist families of Rivertown are here. We don't have a second-class force in Rivertown, not to mention a first-class force. Hence, no one will dare to provoke us since we're in-laws with the Liu family. Besides, they need to give us some face, so they are here to make peace with us today. Haha, you're right. We'll enjoy a higher status in Rivertown in the future." This engagement was the right decision to make. Chapter 188, I'm Wang Xian, 2. The members of the Lan family were conversing joyously. The number of people who had attended this wedding was completely beyond their expectations. Old Qin had come personally and the majority of the ancient martial artist families in Rivertown had already arrived. This made them feel extremely proud and lucky at the same time. They felt lucky that they were having a wedding with the Liu family. This political marriage would bring the Lan family countless intangible benefits. Even the ancient martial artist families in Rivertown are wary of the Liu family and are here to show goodwill. This political marriage is worth it, a young member of the Lan family commented happily. The surrounding members of the Lan family also smiled radiantly. As the guests entered the villa one after another, the Lan family noticed that the majority of the wealthy men and ancient martial artist families of Rivertown had all arrived. There were a total of 300 to 400 of them. This was undoubtedly a huge number. Together with the guests from the Lan family and the Liu family, the number of people attending this engagement ceremony was over 1,000. Within a room in the flowing water villa, Lan Qingyu sat in front of the dressing table without emotions. Behind her, several maids were helping her put up exquisite makeup and adjusting her beautiful white engagement ceremony dress. Sister Lan, you should be a little more thrilled. Today's your big day. Do you know how many people are out there? There are at least 1,000 of them. Oh my God. I heard that the wealthy people in Rivertown have all arrived. Moreover, there are many influential figures from Hailing Province. The Liu family is truly incredible in Hailing Province. Moreover, Liu Feiyun's fame has spread far and wide despite his young age, and many refer to him as the Little Sword Celestial. Qingyu, you are really blessed. Beside her, a young lady commented. Lan Qingyu's eyes flickered and were filled with fatigue and indignance. She looked at the reflection of herself in the mirror. She was beautiful, but she didn't like the white dress. She preferred a red wedding gown. However, she did not say it out loud. This was because she wasn't a willing party to this engagement. If it wasn't for the Lan family, or if the person she liked had the same feelings for her, she would have never agreed to the engagement. Qingyu, are you done? At this moment, the door to the room opened. Liu Feiyun was wearing a neat set of attire. This attire wasn't a suit but a family costume of the Liu family. Slightly above the chest area, the word Liu was imprinted on it. There was also an image of an ethereal flower embroidered onto the costume. He had a sword behind him that indicated his identity as a member of the Liu family who was known for their tyrannical sword. His attire wasn't typical for an engagement ceremony, but it was, in fact, the most formal costume of the Liu family. I'll be done right away. Lan Qingyu nodded her head slowly and replied without turning her head over. Seeing how she reacted, a cold look flashed in the eyes of Liu Feiyun. As he looked at Lan Qingyu from top to bottom, vile thoughts arose in his mind. The engagement ceremony will begin in half an hour. Qingyu, get dressed properly. We have a lot of people that have come from Hailing Province, Liu Feiyun said. His lips curved into a smile as he turned around and left. Qingyu, look at how charming Liu Feiyun is. You and he are the real perfect couple, the young lady by her side commented. Lan Qingyu didn't respond to it and simply looked into the mirror with hollow eyes. The golf course of Flowing Water Villa had been modified into a large engagement ceremony field. On it, there were over 100 exquisite tables with delicious food on them. At the center, there was a pathway laid by the red carpet. At the front of it, there was an elevated platform set up for the engagement ceremony. The stage was huge and the place looked just like the launch event of major popular brands. Although it was outdoors, the surrounding decoration was luxurious with a tinge of romance. At this moment, the guests of the Liu family and the Lan family were seated to the left and right respectively. Sect Leader Tang, please come in. I had not expected Sect Leader Tang to attend our Lan family's wedding. It is truly our honor. At this moment, several members of the Lan family welcomed Sect Leader Tang and a dozen members of the Thistles and Thorns sect enthusiastically before leading them to their seats. Director Lan. How could the Thistles and Thorns sect stay out of today's event? Sect Leader Tang looked across the crowd from Rivertown and commented with a faint smile. Yes. Thank you for coming. Everyone, please, the middle-aged man and the other members of the Lan family replied joyously. They had never expected Sect Leader Tang of the Thistles and Thorns sect from the southern province to lead their members to attend this engagement ceremony. This was a second-class force. Who would have expected the Lan family to have so many guests? The sect leader of Thistles and Thorns sect from the southern province is even here personally. Moreover, the Qin family and the majority of ancient martial artist families from Rivertown have all come. Haha, They aren't doing this for the Lan family. Instead, they are showing respect to the tyrannical sword of the Liu family. If the Lan family could really invite them over, they wouldn't be so badly bullied by Lingyu sect. That's true. Those people from the southern province and Rivertown wouldn't be here if not for the Liu family. To the left of the crowd from Rivertown, the guests of Liu family were looking at the guests of the Lan family while whispering softly. Around the table closest to the stage, 7 to 8 members of the Liu family and Lan family sat around. An old man with a white beard sat on the seat for the host. He looked around satisfactorily and said to the old man beside him, "The Lan family sure has a lot of guests." "Haha, old Liu. I'm sure you know that they are here mainly because of you," the old man from the Lan family replied courteously. "Haha, that's true. The tyrannical sword of the Liu family is still rather influential around the surrounding provinces. Your granddaughter is really lucky to be marrying my grandson." The old man with a white beard wasn't humble at all as he remarked arrogantly. Yes, the old man from the Lan family nodded his head. A tinge of embarrassment flashed past his eyes. The other members of the Lan family simply exchanged pleasantries with the other members of the Liu family. The difference between the strength of the two parties had determined the difference in their status. Just as they were conversing, the guests around them consciously and unconsciously looked over. Who would have expected old Liu to be here? He's the pillar of the Liu family. Old Liu rarely shows up in the Liu family's villa. He probably rushed over for his beloved grandson's engagement ceremony. Old Liu has reached the inborn realm for over 20 years. His strength is probably even more horrifying at this moment. The crowd discussed softly. With an inborn expert sitting right there, it was hard for them to not pay attention to this area. "It seems like I'm not too late." At this moment, a young man walked over slowly. He looked towards the Liu family with a smile before walking to the location at the front. When the ancient martial artists of Rivertown saw Wang Xian, they held their breath as they saw him walking ahead. And he sat around the table with old Qin, old Duan, old Shui, sect leader Tang and others. Chapter 189, I'm Wang Xian, 3. Thank you all. Wang Xian said and smiled as he looked at the few people at the same table. He, Wang Xian already called us to come, how can we not turn up? Old Qin smiled back at Wang Xian. The bride and groom are out. Today's main characters are here. Just then, some voices came from the side. Wang Xian spun his head around and peered towards the back. Everyone turned around too. The clean-looking, white gown with a refined makeup turned Lan Qingyu into a ravishing beauty. Every move of hers was giving off a unique vibe. Liu Feiyun, beside her, was in a blue suit with a long sword behind him. He looked around with a face full of smiles. His dignified demeanor and confident appearance made him an elegant man too. They were made for each other. The man is dashing while the lady is striking. Haha! Such a perfect match. The crowd was pouring endless praise when they saw the attractive couple walking on the red carpet. Let's welcome the couple who are walking towards their happiness. A renowned host was holding onto a microphone with smiles on the front stage. Liu Feiyun, 28 years old, is well known as Little Sword Celestial, who is a well-mannered and impressive gentleman. Lan Qingyu, 22 years old. She's already the general manager at Deep Sea Jewelry at such a young age, and she's a famous talent in Rivertown. Today, they will be tying the knot over here. As the host introduced the couple, soft music was played. All the guests kept quiet as they watched smilingly. She's still so beautiful. Wang Xian looked at Lan Qingyu and displayed a faint grin. Upon hearing his comment, old Qin and old Shui threw him a gaze as they widened their smiles. Even heroes have a weakness for the charms of a beautiful woman. Look, they are here. As they were approaching, the host said with smiles, "Please face our friends and relatives. Today, they will be witnessing the couple tying the knot of a lifetime." Liu Feiyun turned around as he grinned from ear to ear. Lan Qingyu followed suit too. "Thank you for attending the engagement ceremony of Mr. Liu Feiyun and Ms. Lan Qingyu. Today will mark a new beginning for the couple. Let's give them our most sincere congratulations. Today, all of you will witness the engagement of the couple. Even though this is not the wedding ceremony, Getting engaged is equivalent to proposing. I wonder if the fiancé has prepared anything. The host looked at Liu Fei-yun with smiles. Liu Fei-yun returned a grin to him. Of course. Then let your show begin, the host joked. An engagement was different from a wedding. The fiancé had to propose on the grand stage. Liu Fei-yun drew his lips slightly. After he took 2 slow steps backward, he swung his arm, and the long sword behind him was drawn into the air. He threw his arm up, grabbed the long sword, and began his sword dance. In amongst flowers with a bottle of wine. I drink alone, for there is no one close by. I raise my chalice to invite the shining moon. The moon casts me a shadow, and we have a triad. Since the moon never learns to drink, my shadow absent-mindedly shall follow me. Nevertheless, I have them around me. Enjoying the moments, just like how it should be. I sing, and the moon lingers. I dance, and my shadow whirls under. In my sober moments, we rejoice together. And we bid goodbye as soon as I am drunk. Such fellowship shall last despite our parted ways. Only heaven knows when we shall come together again. A sword danced in front of the audience. As Liu Fei-yun wielded his sword, he recited one of Li Bai's renowned poems, Drinking Alone Under the Moon. His sword was gleaming with a faint and wavering glow from the moon, which was beautiful and extravagant. The audience was taken aback by Liu Fei-yun's swordplay such that they could not hide their shocking expressions. Little Sword Celestial's swordsmanship seems to be much stronger than what the rumors claimed it to be. Gosh, this is impressive. His sword seems to have drawn a picture in the air. Young Master Liu's swordsmanship is getting more powerful. He lives up to the name of Little Sword Celestial. Haha, awesome. It's indeed the art of Sword Celestial. Well done. An elder with a full white beard was sitting in the front row, looking ebullient when he gazed at the strokes Liu Fei-yun displayed. Liu Fei-yun was even more proud when he noticed the surprised looks from the audience. He then turned to Lan Qingyu. Wine and Moon were the most loyal companions throughout Li Bai's entire life. I hope, Qingyu, you can become my most loyal companion in my life too. Just recently, I obtained the Sword Celestial's inheritance, and I'll rise to the highest level in no time. As my wife, you'll also enjoy a high status with me. As Liu Fei-yun spoke, he pointed the long sword into the air, and a diamond ring appeared on the top. He threw his long sword back into its scabbard and took the diamond ring as he gazed smilingly at Lan Qingyu. Qingyu, will you be my companion? Liu Fei-yun looked at the ravishing Lan Qingyu. Wow, this is so romantic. If someone were to propose to me like this, I'd say yes immediately. All the females in the crowd were falling head over heels for him. Liu Fei-yun, who performed swordplay, was simply too romantic and touching. I didn't expect that young Master Liu could obtain the Sword Celestial, Li Bai's inheritance. No wonder the sword dance was beautiful, yet ferocious. What a surprise. I heard that he won the auction of Li Bai's authentic calligraphy. He's such a talent to have comprehended its essence in such a short time. He even obtained the inheritance. He's such a gifted man. Given young Master Liu's talent, he will take over old Liu's position and become the next inborn Sword Celestial of the Liu family. When the audience heard what Liu Fei-yun said, they were struck by surprise. The talent displayed by Liu Fei-yun was daunting. Lan Qingyu fell into a trance-like state as she gazed at Liu Fei-yun and the diamond ring in his hand. A different phase of life would begin as soon as she received the ring. Immense bitterness filled her eyes as she closed them. Ha! Upon seeing how Lan Qingyu was responding, Liu Fei-yun frowned slightly. Impatience flashed in his eyes as he sounded stiff. Qingyu, will you say yes to me? Of course not. Just when Lan Qingyu opened her eyes to accept her fate, a voice cut the silent air in the engagement ceremony. Upon hearing the voice, Lan Qingyu jerked slightly as she spun around with disbelief. She stared hard at Wang Xian. Ha! An abrupt voice had stunned everyone from the Lan and Liu family. Liu Fei-yun, on the stage, turned around immediately. When he saw Wang Xian, he was slightly taken aback. Soon after, he glared at Wang Xian with a murderous face. Who are you, brat? How dare you spout nonsense here? Seeking your own doom? A middle-aged man who was sitting beside the white-bearded old man stood up. He stared at Wang Xian with a sharp and ferocious look as he shouted at him. The white-bearded old man swept his gaze across Wang Xian before he turned to look at the seniors from Lan family unhappily. Apparently, he was displeased with the fact that the person who had interrupted was a guest of the Lan family. "I'm Wang Xian." Wang Xian returned a smile to that middle-aged man as he replied impassively. Chapter 190. I'm Wang Xian, 4. I'm Wang Xian. It was just 3 short and ordinary words, but they exhibited endless confidence. Wang Xian? Where did this brat come from? How dare he spout nonsense here? Is he courting his own death? At this moment, before the Liu family responded, a burly man among the Liu family's guests stood up and shouted emotionlessly at Wang Xian. That's right. How dare you spout nonsense in young Master Liu's engagement ceremony? You must be too eager to die. I have not heard of Wang Xian. However, I'll probably be attending your memorial service the same day next year. What an arrogant brat to kick up a fuss in Liu family's engagement ceremony. You must be tired of living. After that burly middle-aged man stood up to reprimand Wang Xian, other ancient martial artists stood up one after another and stared coldly at Wang Xian. Some of the ancient martial artists emitted strong auras directly as they threw their gazes filled with killing intent at Wang Xian. In an instant, everyone's attention had fallen onto Wang Xian. Without having to take actions or say a single word, there was already a group of guests who were willing to stand up for the Liu family. In fact, if it wasn't a joyous event today, they would have taken actions directly to get on the good books of the Liu family. Xiao Xian. Why are you here? Get away quickly. Lan Qingyu was shocked to see Wang Xian. After hearing the threats of the crowd while still being in shock, her face turned pale and she blurted out. She knew that Wang Xian was incredible. However, the other party was the Liu family, who was one of the top forces in Hailing Province. Lan Qingyue's body was shivering a little and her eyes were filled with horror. Huh! When the crowd heard Lan Qingyu, they were stunned. What does this mean? When the female party of the engagement ceremony said those words, the meaning behind it would be great. Is Wang Xian the old flame of Lan Qingyu? Or perhaps he was her secret lover? A bright green grass field slowly appeared over Liu Feiyun's head. You couldn't really blame them for reading too much into this. With the development of the situation, it wasn't hard for them to reach this conclusion. In fact, those with a wilder imagination already had a few versions in their minds. The young Missy of the Lan family is forced to marry the Liu family. The lover of the young Missy appears to snatch the bride. The young Missy of the Lan family has an affair with a poor kid. Little Sword Celestial of the Liu family is made a cuckold. Wait. Lan Qingyu. Liu Feiyun saw the expression of Lan Qingyu and heard her words. His expression was savage and he was clenching his fist tightly. Under such circumstances and during his engagement ceremony, for her fiancé to be involved in a scandal with another man, this was the utmost humiliation to him. How could he possibly face the public in the future as the little sword celestial of the tyrannical sword? Bam! Preposterous! Preposterous! At this moment, at the table of the host, the white-bearded old man slammed his hand heavily on the table with a solemn expression. All the cups on the table were knocked over. The old man from Lan family beside him looked extremely pale. The other members of the Lan family were also as white as a sheet. Some even stared at Wang Xian and Lan Qingyu angrily. The burly middle-aged man from before saw how furious old Liu was. He stood up and immediately remarked, "Old Liu, leave this to us. We can handle it." "Yeah, old Liu. Just leave this brat to us." Those ancient martial arts families and sects who wished to get on the good side of the Liu family stood up one after another and requested old Liu to let them help. "Drag him out." Old Liu didn't say a word, but the middle-aged man beside him did. Yes. Instantly, over 10 people nodded their heads. They were from different families and sects. They stood up and stared harshly at Wang Xian before walking towards him. "Brat, you are courting your own death." The burly middle-aged man stared coldly at Wang Xian with killing intent. Xiao Xian. Seeing this, Lan Qingyue's complexion turned even paler. A teardrop streamed down her cheek. Wang Xian looked at the dozen people walking towards him and revealed a mocking smile. He stood up gradually. Rattle, rattle. At this moment, sounds of tables and chairs scraping the floor sounded. To the astonishment of the Lan family, the Liu family and the guests, all the ancient martial artist families and wealthy men from Rivertown and the members of the Thistles and Thorns sect together with sect leader Tang stood up. They stared coldly at the dozen people walking towards Wang Xian. The atmosphere dropped below freezing point in an instant. Everyone from the Lan family looked at this scene with disbelief. All the major families, ancient martial artist families from Rivertown and the members of the Thistles and Thorns sect had all stood up with the young man. They were shocked by the development. The Lan family had initially thought that they were only here to show goodwill because of the political marriage with the Liu family. They thought that the Thistles and Thorns sect, Old Qin, and the wealthy men from Rivertown were only here in hopes of getting to know the Liu family. However, they realized that they were completely wrong. They weren't here because they wanted to show goodwill to them for the political marriage with the Liu family. And they weren't there because they were wary of the Liu family. They were here for that young man. The dozen martial artists walking towards Wang Xian were stunned. They looked at the Rivertown crowd in shock as their expressions turned solemn. Just a while ago, they were still commenting that the ancient martial artist families of Rivertown and sects from the southern province were only here because of the Liu family. At this moment, those were just their wishful thoughts. They were here to get on the good books of the Liu family? Nope, they were here to go against the Liu family. Ha ha. Great, great. The middle-aged man beside the white-bearded old man looked hideous as he saw the crowd stand up. He stood up gradually and fixed his eyes on Wang Xian. Brat, I think I know who you are. To have such a huge influence in Rivertown and to be so young, you must be Miracle Doctor Wang, who ranks 18th on the Miracle Doctors chart. Not bad. You are pretty good, brat. However, you choose to not enjoy your bright future and instead offend our Liu family. Do you think this trash from Rivertown is sufficient to challenge our Liu family? The middle-aged man shouted out the last sentence. Rattle, rattle. As the middle-aged man completed his sentence, the guests of the Liu family stood up immediately. In terms of number, they weren't inferior to the people of Rivertown. When it came to strength, they were much stronger than the crowd from Rivertown. Among the guests of the Liu family, there were 3 to 4 second-class forces. On the other hand, only Thistles and Thorns sect was a second-class force on the Rivertown side. Just a small Rivertown, and yet you dare to challenge the Liu family. You guys don't know where you stand. The Liu family doesn't even need to take actions and we can easily annihilate you guys. Haha, interesting. A small Rivertown that doesn't even have a second-class force and the southern province which doesn't even have a first-class force are thinking of challenging us and the Liu family. They must be really eager to seek their own death. I'll give you guys a chance right now. Cripple that brat and throw him over. Otherwise, we will annihilate the entire Rivertown. The guests of the Liu family looked down on the group behind Wang Xian. If it was just the forces of Rivertown, they weren't wary at all. In fact, even if they included the southern province, they weren't afraid if they included the Liu family too. I'm sorry that I'm late. At this moment, a nonchalant voice sounded in the ears of everyone.